Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Flintlocks and Fireballs, where a handful of mad actors will attempt to survive the treacherous darkness that is... treacherous darkness that is Dungeons and Dragons. I am your host and Dungeon Master Jason Phelps, and I'm joined, as ever, by Robbie, Prince of Lies, Bellekom, Sam, Price of Pies, Burns, and Ellie, The Price is Right, Sparrow.
Oh, yeah, it is. I wish I could remember any catchphrases from that show, but I actually can't.
Anything about that show.
Was it the one with the conveyor belts? That was Generation Game.
Yeah, it was.
Are those
also,
the same?
We're really confusing our US viewers right now, I think.
I think The Price is Right is something else.
Okay, it's not the same
but
thing.
I don't know if I ever watched it.
You had to guess the prices of a bunch of stuff.
I mean, presumably based on the name.
I mean, that feels like it must be. The catchphrase is probably The Price is Right.
How do they make games out of this shit?
I mean, there's one where you, open a door and hope it'll be car instead of a goat. And that's deal or no deal is guess a number in a box.
Yeah.
I mean, there is now a game show on the BBC that is just werewolf.
Really?
To be fair, I'd watch that.
Yeah.
Werewolf's a great game.
Yeah.
Also, though, they have really worn the back out
They make them
werewolf.
wear cloaks and shit. It's really over the top.
Oh.
I'm quite here for it, but it's bizarre that it's now on telly.
That is weird.
Speaking of bizarre, is usually my point where I'll go into messages from the present, and we will ask for future us for a message from the present. But we have a message from the past, from New Year.
Oh,
actually,
we do.
You were saying that.
Are we just going to say it?
Shall we?
I didn't know if you were cutting to past us. We got. Do you want to say it? Or should I say it? We got engaged.
We got engaged! That is to say, Ellie and I, specifically.
Yeah, not all four of us.
No. Not that kind of friendship.
As much as that would be an adorable thing.
Yes.
Not currently legal.
We're specifically talking about me and Jason.
Yes.
And we just thought it might be a cute thing to tell you, because you've been listening to us be weird for years. And we'd already decided to be weird forever, but, we've made it official and stuff.
Yeah. So, thank you for joining us on this portion of the journey.
Yeah, just so you get the full image. Fireworks went off and he knelt in the mud in a silly hat and asked me to spend every New Year's with him. It was adorable and very silly.
Smooth sauce.
We just thought you might like to know, because it might be nice.
So happy for you both.
Thank you. It wasn't even my usual hat. It was just a very warm hat. That hat is now forever imbued with the.
It is now the proposal hat, and it's an old hat that I shrunk in the wash ages ago, and it's the dumbest hat you could have been wearing.
Yeah.
But he borrowed my shitty hat because he was cold, and looked like a little gnome. It was very cute.
So I guess the message here is, if your beloved loves you enough, that they will accept your proposal even if it's delivered while looking like a gnome.
Yes. I think the gnome thing enhanced
I may
it.
only accept a proposal if it's delivered by someone looking like a gnome.
It's possible I would have said no if you hadn't worn the hat. I'm going to be real
True,
with you.
the hat has great magic.
It does have magical powers.
Speaking of magical powers, it's time.
Become an heirloom. Every generation from now on has to wear it.
Excellent.
Horrifying.
It's time for us to bend time and continuity and demand future us what messages from the present. It's Future Jason with messages from the present. This episode of Flintlocks and Fireballs is brought to you by you. As ever, a massive thanks to our crew members on the Flintlocks Patreon who help keep this ship sailing. There's a wealth of extra content and bonus features for patrons, including regular blog posts, extra stories narrated by the cast, artwork, and a monthly poll for the community to help design an element to go into the game. You can check it out at patreon.com/flintlocks-and-fireballs, link in the description. And that's it for announcements this time. Back to you, Past Jason. And with that out of the way, I think it's more than time for us to begin Flintlocks and Fireballs. Our land stands on the sabre's edge.
Our cities are a powder keg.
Brother chains, brother, no one's free. A life on land is short, you'll see.
So gather your muskets, gather your spears, we'll plunder the shores of Calcinea. No kraken, storm or spell we fear, so come and sail with us, my dear.
Previous.
And fiance. Jason is laughing because I can't say the word fiance seriously because I think it should be said in an Essex accent or a French one and nothing else.
He's my fiance.
I'm also laughing because you managed to perfectly cut into my intro.
No, that was the intention. I'm being a pain in the arse.
Well prepared. Previously.
I literally breathed in and waited.
On Flintlocks and Fireballs. The party continue to work their way through the strange, perhaps extra-dimensional in nature, wings of the Cirrus Citadel. Having made their way now through the wings of 4 of the sorcerers thus far. Last time they found themselves entering a strange and, for want of a better word, temporarily displaced Alisant, with buildings 1,000 years old, inhabitants that might be walking around in the modern day, which is to say 1798, and invaders from a strange time with mysterious armoured land ships and and flying machines dropping bombs upon the city, as well as some very advanced rifles. Along the way, the party collected a series of clock pieces and made their way to the centre of the under-construction Grand Bâtard in Alisant, picking up a rather confused elven woman by the name of Cassandra. After assembling the clock, they placed it onto a strange triangular trapdoor in the ground and pulled it open, stepping through into somewhere quite different. I'm going to go describe location first, and then a person. So, you find yourself, very suddenly and unexpectedly, in a dingy bar, or rather an eatery, since it doesn't quite look like the pubs or taverns you're familiar with. Yellowish strips illuminate the bar from the close-by ceiling, reminiscent of mage crystals, but made from some sort of frosted glass, and these are regular oblongs rather than crystalline in appearance.
In a nightclub.
But they're not the only source of light. Twisted glass tubes shine with bright primary colours, and strips along the wall glow up, illuminating colourful designs, names, and instructions that, by and large, you do not recognise. Drink Solicola. Halcyon Dreams. War-Batittle Synth Meat. Eat one. An off-putting cartoon.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
How much?
We are in the
meat is
future
one
and it is
centimetre?
shit.
An off-putting cartoon of a cat with giant eyes and a smiling mouth
No.
appears to be drinking from a cylinder full of juice that, based on the smiley face, is equally happy to be consumed.
No.
What the fuck?
No.
The bar itself hisses with the sizzle of cooking food. Strips of meat, vegetables, and noodles are being tossed around huge woks by bugbears in white aprons with matching caps, handing out bowls of stir-fry to clientele in floral print dresses with immaculately coiffed hair, or short-sleeved checkered shirts and high-waisted trousers. No coinage is exchanged that you can see, but the eaters do seem to press curious, brightly coloured rectangles of an oddly reflective material onto the bar before their orders are handed over. Everyone, and I do mean everyone, is smoking little white paper cylinders of what, and you can recognise from the smell, it's tobacco, as if they're smoking tiny cigars. Men in thick overcoats and peculiar short-brimmed hats drink from shaped green glass bottles while they hurriedly stuff noodles into their faces before they check pocket watches that are strapped to their wrists, small enough to fit on them, and then pick up black rectangular cases and move away at speed. You can barely hear this hubbub, the conversation and the frying, let alone each other, over the loud music. Some unseen band is playing a strange tune that seems kind of oddly right to you, Celestia. A little heavy on the drums and bass.
Oh, Celestia is like instantly vibing in this place.
And with a type of sound that you have never heard outside of your own guitar. In front of you is someone that, though, you recognise Cassandra, the same elf as before. But although she's wearing the same sort of green dress, she's got other clothes on as well. There's a curious, bulky, sleeveless vest of some sort of patterned green and brown fabric, complete with shoulder pads that run to just above the elbow and a pair of thick flaps that go down below crotch level. She's got matching boots and a bowl-shaped helmet of similar cloth, though the helmet's obviously rigid, as well as a pair of wraparound goggles made from a single piece of, you want to say glass, although it doesn't quite reflect light in the same way as glass. There's a bandolier strung across her chest, stuffed with a mixture of potion bottles, black powder grenades, not dissimilar to Corzin's, and what appear to be a pair of wands, one shaped from ivory and the other from what you recognise as mithril. She looks at the four of you over. It's been a long time. Good to see you again. Celestia, Corzin, Scamp, Victory, right?
No.
Where'd you get all that stuff?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Excuse me, this place is incredible. Where I feel like something here makes sense to me, and I'm having a bit of a moment. Where are we?
When are we?
How are we?
No, we know that one.
Okay. Right. So, sorry, you've asked me some of these questions in the past.
Right.
Sort of. It's
This is our first time, though.
Yes, I've met you. I remember meeting you before. So there are some questions that you need to ask me next time you meet me.
Okay, specifics?
No, the question. You ask me questions. I'll tell you if I've already answered them. It's best if the questions come from you, rather than if I try and make suggestions.
Okay.
Really.
I have something terribly urgent to ask you. What era of music are we in? What time is this from?
Okay, I haven't answered that. So
It's very urgent.
the music. If we get here, we are in Regency calendar, right?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are in the 21st century.
Oh shit. Cool.
Oh, wow.
Or,
Okay.
well, bits of this are.
That might be further than I've been.
Yeah. Yeah, that if you might have had questions relating to that, ask me those next time you meet me.
Okay.
Cool.
Why are we here in the literal, not metaphorical sense, instead of being somewhere else?
Okay, so again, I've given you a full explanation already. The short version is, things are a little out of order with me and with here. And you're going to help put it back together a little bit. Have we...
Your time's gone a bit wonky, right?
That's...
Are you Reaper of Time? Is that you?
No. Listen,
Are you... Which one are you then? There's too many of these.
You've asked me that.
I know. I'm sure.
Okay. Listen, we've met before. And I realise that we're a little uneven, but I know a lot about you. You've told me about your lives. Celestia, I know you grew up in the Underdark. You had a bitch of a mother who conscripted you into her army and you ran away, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so we've spoken a lot already. I know other things about you. Victory, Kotzol. You are the... you grew up knowing you'd be a sorcerer on your mother's ship, the Basilisk. Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Marie don't mind.
Okay. She's... Okay, I'm going to speak, but her thoughts are in line with what she's saying.
That's fine.
You don't detect an obvious deception. She does say, however, continue, and other things to Scamp.
Yeah.
You are the Goat Lord, the Avenger of Horn Alley. You've done so much. First Mate Corzin of the Kraken's Bane. Where's Marlon?
What?
Oh.
Ooh.
No, wait, that was...
You're a little bit out of date.
Something's wrong there.
What?
Marlon was never on the Kraken's Bane, darling.
No, he's the Captain Marlon Brandy of the Kraken's
Captain
Bane.
Horhace.
No.
No, that was the previous
He didn't
ship I
get
was
that
on.
far.
Charlie's Regret.
Yeah.
He died.
No, his brother died.
No, darling.
Vig.
Fuck!
No, Vig's still alive.
Vig's fine.
Oh. Fuck! This isn't the primary
timeline.
timeline.
What?
What?
I'm sorry.
Oh, shit.
No.
Okay, this is going... well, I definitely haven't explained this before. Okay.
Did we break time?
No, that's impossible.
How would we even...
Is this music
Never
never
mind.
You'd
gonna
be amazed
exist?
how
That's
many
really
impossible
sad.
things we do.
Listen, she runs over to the wall, and you can see there's a complex little series of buttons, and then she, with little bright symbols on, she slams one, and an illusory billiards table comes into existence. The style is dissimilar to... It is a little... you recognise this as a billiards table. It's a little smaller. Smaller, and it's weirdly in the same sort of aesthetic as everything else, brightly coloured lines around the outside, black siding, and it's slightly translucent in a way.
Corzin's going to put his hand through it.
Yeah, you totally can, but as you kind of tap one of the balls, they react as if you've in the right way.
Neat trick.
An unusual contraption.
Yeah, Cassandra picks up a couple of small rings from the wall, and they seem to create illusory pool cues. She holds one, takes one, and quickly breaks the set of balls, so the billiard balls go everywhere. Okay, do any of you know how to play pool?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've played before.
Corzin's probably better than me.
Fine. She tosses the pair of you the cues. You see, there's the cue ball is next to the black. You can see there. Do you reckon you can shoot that red ball in a way that it's going to knock the black ball next to the pouch
Probably.
into it. Okay, give it a try. Dexterity check from both of you. See if either of you can.
Okay, yep.
Who's better at pool? Oh, it's not good. My dex is very good.
Okay.
18. No, hang on. Dex, just dex.
Yeah.
Sorry. That is wrong. That's an 11.
11?
Oh,
Sorry,
I
I
rolled a 9.
conflated it with something else in my brain.
Okay. Celestia, you get in there first and you manage to hit the red ball. It's slightly off, but the red ball connects with the 8 ball and it bounces off the off the side. It doesn't quite go into the pocket, but it gets close. Right. This is... Okay, so here's the important thing. You reckoned you could probably get that black ball into the net by hitting it with the red ball.
Yeah.
And you were pretty sure that you could hit the red ball... you were almost certain you could hit the red ball with the cue ball, which you did.
Yes.
Now, you could kind of guess at the moment before you hit the cue ball where things were probably going to go. They didn't quite go the way you expected, but you got pretty close. The black ball almost went into the pocket. That's the word. Now, she grabs something off a nearby table, what appears to be a slate of some sort of smooth black glass. Smacks it a couple of times and you see strange illusory things start to appear over it. A series of squares with bright colouring and tiny images on them. She starts weirdly dragging them side to side on this little tablet, if you will, before tapping one.
Out of character. Is it an iPad?
It's somewhere between an iPad and a Star Trek tablet.
I'm sorry to just
Excellent.
ask, but my brain was like, I can't quite picture this, and then I
it's
realised it
basically
might be an
a smooth
iPad.
black iPad.
And I didn't have to try hard. Thank you.
She slides between them, taps one, and a whole different set of things appears. And you notice that there's a strange bar at the top with small fragmentary words that you only get an instant of seeing before she touches one. You see strange words like file, edit, scene in Jovan. And then she moves between them. Little blocks with more words come out and then collapse into each other. And then finally, she presents you with a black screen with a small red circle at the bottom. She taps the red circle and you see a white line stretch outwards from it. As if a single pixel is drawing a line behind it as it moves. Okay. Imagine that you could track every moment, your path through your whole life, everywhere you've ever been, and that you could track that across every moment you've ever lived.
Wow.
That sounds
Alright.
terrible.
Right.
But imagine for a moment you can.
Yes.
We'll call this your world line. This is the path you are taking. Now, throughout your life, there are any number of moments where you make choices, decisions. Sometimes they're big ones. Sometimes they're little ones. Sometimes it's, do I want to have a jam sandwich or a beef sandwich? Sometimes it's two people, and she looks at Corzin, two people are on the table and you need to triage.
Yes, alright.
Jam sandwich is sometimes considered a gateway sandwich. Punch some.
She laughs as if she gets the joke.
Creepy.
And she taps the little red circle again, and the little pixel starts going forwards again, making a line, but this time it branches, going in two directions, still moving forwards, then they branch again and again and again. And very quickly it's like a little, almost like a leafless tree spreading outwards. Every time you make a decision, the way your world line could go any number of different ways. Sometimes it could split down 2 different paths. And you could imagine all, let's call them possible futures, as looking like this, like a tree spreading out infinitely. And she kind of taps the button a couple of times, and you see that as it spreads out, the branches seem to blur until it's more like a cone going outwards from a single point. Except that's not how it works. She taps it again, and you see the tree branching out, but the branches keep veering back into each other at different points. Some go off in wild directions, others others clump together, and as the line continues growing and the view goes out, you actually see it's more like 6 or 7 main trunks that sometimes join together, sometimes split apart. Ultimately, bigger things exist in your life that mean most of the time your decisions will end up in similar paths that you take. You can imagine that everything happening around you tends to guide you in a certain direction, which is why we're not seeing billions of branches on this tree. You're only really seeing 6 or 7. There are some smaller ones that are now too small for us to observe, but by and large, if you try and imagine all possible futures, they collapse back in to a few stable paths. The unlikely ways things could go cancel each other out until you just get the more likely.
So it's like, I guess, horse racing. There is definitely one horse that will win, but there's a chance that all of them might.
There's a chance all of them might. There's a chance that an explosion will go off and kill all the horses, but probably one of the horses will reach the end of the race and win.
Yeah, alright, I think I'm following you.
Now, it's very tempting to look at this, at all of these different world lines that I've drawn, and think, which one are we in? Like, which timeline, if you could call it, am I in? And
but some of them come back together, so it's not that simple.
Now, here's the most important thing. I did not expect that I would need to explain theoretical temporal physics today, but never mind.
I don't even know what those words mean, Tommy.
One day you will. Now, if the world lives long enough, you'll get to figure this out.
Oh, fine, I'll learn physics then.
The important thing to remember with any of this sort of temporal mechanics is all of these other lines, all of these other branches of the Tree of Time are bullshit. There are no alternate futures. There are no alternate pasts. There is only the present. We travel, the one real moment in existence is now. We are moving forward. The past happened. It's real. There is only ever one past. There is only one present. It is useful to imagine that there are many possible futures. But the fact is, even if you could make a very accurate guess, it is a guess. Now, she points back to the pool table again. Looking at this pool table, you could make pretty good guesses as to how the rest of the game will go, or as to how hitting cue ball into any of the balls is going to go. You're pretty certain about how you can, especially if you've got a good hand, about how you can knock that cue ball and its path. And you're pretty sure after that the first ball you hit is going to go the way you want it. But then the ball after that gets a little more uncertain. The ball after that gets a little more uncertain. And that's because you only know so much. But the more you know, the more accurate your guess can be. Now imagine for a moment...
Are you the seer, then? And am I you? Just checking before I get my brain too melted.
You have asked this. Please, for politeness, ask me again.
Okay.
But it's very obvious. No, neither of you, tieflings, neither of you tiefling sorcerers, neither Scamp nor Victory, are me. You're too sane. You have it together too much.
Are you anything to do with the Eyes of the Storm? It was on my brain. I thought I'd ask. I can ask again later. Or earlier, or whatever.
You ask me next time.
Okay.
This is an important question. Who has... Do you know the whereabouts of the Eyes of the Storm other than the one, she points to Victory, that your mother holds?
Out of character for a second. I've got one, obviously. Did we know where the other one was? Clara's got one, but isn't using it.
I don't think you know the location of others off the top of my head.
Does the
three.
horrible person who wants to kill Corzin have one?
Oh, yes.
Is that a thing?
Oh, yeah, we know that one.
Yeah.
So that's
Right,
4.
deep speaker or deep.
Did we
caller,
know of any
yeah.
more than 4?
That's the bunny.
We don't actually know what the total number of them was.
Yeah.
That is not a thing I think we
don't
have
think so.
yet discovered.
I mean, hell, I guess we can say to her then, we know of 4 and where they are.
Okay.
Are there more? We've not actually found that out.
Yeah,
I've
we
already
haven't actually
answered
got a total
this,
number.
but I need to know how far we've drifted in terms of timelines.
From
Is
what?
this my fault? Because
No, it's
sometimes
it's
I can
potentially
feel
someone's
like something
fault.
might happen, and I go, you know what? The world shouldn't be that way. I'm just going to shove it a little. off
Okay.
To the side.
Could you just like not blame yourself for everything for like
No,
2
no.
seconds?
But I just want to know if that's what this is. Because
It could have been any of
like
us.
a sorcerer
We're all
thing.
dicks.
Listen, no,
You don't literally change the world because you decide it sometimes like that, though. Like, I can
Okay.
feel a thing about to happen and I'm like,
listen.
no, and then it doesn't.
Your path is your own to tread. This is not the version of me that is best placed to reassure you.
Okay.
I
don't need reassuring.
I'm
I
not
just
the
need
part-
to know if I need to use it to shove it back in line.
No, I don't remember you asking me this, but it's a better question for the me you'll meet later.
Okay.
I am good at some things. I'm not good at others. The thing you need to... that I can give you some information about, but again, you need to ask me about this properly, is that I am not all of me.
Okay.
Things are
Come again?
mixed up. Things are a little broken, and I need your help putting things back together, she gestures around, here.
Right.
Okay,
Before
we can do
I
that.
can be together enough to show you the way onwards. Now,
How did they get broken?
I am broken. And this may explain a little. If you could predict everything about... If you knew every single state of the pool table and everything about the players and how they would act and how they would move, you could almost certainly predict how the pool game would go. I could probably do that. Maybe. One mind really focused could. If you knew everything about the world, if you could see everywhere in the present at once, and you had the mind to encompass it all, you could predict the future and you could chart back the past. But I am wherever I am, and certainly the me that is here, mortal. Sort of, in as much as sorcerers are. And I don't have the mind to keep it all going. Not in one mind.
Right.
Ask me how I tried to solve that problem later.
Can I have an out-of-character second?
Yeah.
Are we supposed to be writing all of these questions down? Because I haven't been.
You may find it useful to. I am writing these down, so you can ask me for a reminder at the break.
That would be a good
Could you,
thing.
Facebook them to us?
Yes.
That'd be really helpful. Yeah.
Amazing, thank
Yeah.
you.
I hadn't thought to until a couple of questions ago, and I still haven't been, and I just got a bit lost.
That's okay.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah, I'll forget them.
Thank you.
The point I want to make is there is only one now. Even if you try and set things up to make a very accurate prediction of what you would say if you were talking to yourself in the future, in the past, from the future, you cannot break causality. Time travel is impossible. I don't mean to say that it's impossible, but with magic, it is literally draw a square circle impossible. Really, trust me on this. And that is the most important thing you need to know about dealing with people who who can try and predict the future. I've already talked to you about how some of these things work, but suffice to say, if you think you can see the future, you're seeing the most likely future.
All right.
At the point you made the prediction.
Right.
Yeah, because we know we've been able to change it, so that makes sense.
All right.
Whenever I last made the prediction, the most likely future is the one where Captain Marlon Brandy has the Eye of the Storm and is in control of the Kraken's Bane.
That's fucking weird.
That's really weird.
So,
I do not know how many things would have had to have changed in order for that to have occurred.
any number of small things, maybe some big things. The point is that the most... If you've got... She points to the seven-treed branched, weirdly conjoining tree on the tablet. If there are 7 possible futures, and you see the most likely, is the most likely the one that has better than a coin toss chance of happening? Or is it the one that has slightly better than 1 in 7 chances of happening? You don't know. You just know which is the most likely.
Alright.
I see why you're not very sane.
Yeah.
Because I thought the Eye of the Storm was like a mindfuck, but oh, fucking hell, darling.
How will we know when we've met the right you to ask all these questions?
How many me's have you met already?
2,
Well,
I think.
2, including you.
I mean, if you
Then
were
you have
different
one
above
more.
ground.
There's one more you will meet.
Right.
Alright, good to know.
Did you split yourself on purpose?
Okay, won't hurt to answer this. Yes.
Right.
Ask if you want more details. Ask me for more details later. We've probably not got much more time before things start going wrong.
What do you need?
we need to find the tokens that will help put things back together.
Okay.
Like
Is
the
this
clock
like
pieces?
The clocks? Yeah.
Yes. It won't... It's usually going to be a little different. I think we're going to need to look around. The first one is probably not far.
So some things that don't look in place.
Does it have to be time related? Like, will it be another kind of clock or something similar?
I tend to follow a theme, but I don't know what it will look like until we find
I mean,
it.
everybody's got little clocks on their arms. Any of them look broken?
You can always take a look.
Alarm
Okay, so
clock.
this is our first. This is our first skill check.
God.
So, how would you like to search?
Well, I could ask, like, so you don't actually know what the object is yet?
No, and I'll have difficulty perceiving it, but you might be able. It will stand out more to you.
Something that looks out of place. Then.
Something broken?
Maybe, or broken or incomplete.
All right, let's have a look
A
around for
really
anything that's
stupid
looks like it's
impulse.
broken.
That I can't get rid of.
Yes.
It's not going to help, but what I want to do is some barding.
Okay.
Just like, I don't know, you keep saying something broken. I want to do a little illusion on myself of like a little repairman outfit. Hello, I'm here to do the repairs.
Brilliant.
I was told something needed fixing. Just very loudly. That's what I've got.
Yeah, I mean,
unless
give me-
anybody
Then
objects
we
and
can look
stops
for
me, in
it.
which case,
Give me a
please.
deception check if you want to do that.
Are you both okay with that?
What?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
What
And
kind
we
of
will look for a reaction.
what kind of illusion are you using?
God, I haven't actually decided.
I mean, in my head, you are for some reason just dressing as Mario,
That's
Yeah.
basically the image I have in my
complete
brain.
with mustache.
Could
Yeah.
I arguably use major image for this because it's just an outfit?
If you sort of concentrate and move the outfit with you, or even just like
I mean, I can make like a living, breathing creature. So
Yeah.
I figure, like, I don't know, like an outfit would not be the
yeah,
worst.
yeah. I mean,
If
like-
you'd rather I didn't know, that's
no,
okay.
it's fine. You just sort of like weirdly have to like move it with you.
Yeah, it's probably a real pain. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But like, I'll say you can do this. Yeah, roll this check with advantage then.
Okay.
Created like
What
an
kind of
illusory
check?
mech suit.
Would you like to make?
Deception.
Deception.
Would be my. Would probably be my
Not
instinct.
performance.
And yeah, you're acting and you're using an illusion. I do
Doing
like
acting.
performance.
Okay, that is 24? No, 34. Sorry. I can't do adding. 34.
Okay. I'm gonna say.
Drop a little spanner, you know.
Yeah, that
Tool bag.
one of the bugbears at the one of the sort of bugbears dressed like fry chefs, fry cooks, looks up and goes and thumbs towards a panel on the board. Like one of those strange black panels, which seems to be having strange little flickering lights on it, and goes, "Hey, if you're here to fix the jukebox, you're welcome. It's stuck on bloody Techno."
I am here to fix the dookie box. Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Yep. Because it's stuck on the Techno. That's what I'm doing. Yes, thank you very much for the directions.
You
I'm the repairman.
head over to the strange, glitchy, but like one of these strange black tablets with brightly coloured lights in it. You can see that there are some words, like there are some panels with words which have different things, like words on it that you can see, like techno, rock, techno, rock, drum and bass, oldies, rock shanty,
Rock shanty.
metal
Oh,
shanty.
rock shanty.
Yeah.
Why would anyone write a shanty about rocks? That sounds rubbish.
I've seen some good rocks.
I do like
Maybe
a
it's
good
about,
rock, to be fair.
Like all those
Nudie stone
songs
women.
about going down the mines.
Nudie stone women. It's about the nudie
Yeah,
stone
that's
women.
what it is.
I mean, just out of curiosity, what do you want to try and do to fix it? Like, just like, because the fried chef is like looking at you expectantly.
I'm going to press some buttons and look meaningfully at it.
Is this a magic thing, or is it something else?
Victory kind of looks at you and shrugs a bit.
I
There's
could just try like mending.
Press the rock button.
you press the rock button. There's a brief.
I just want Celestia to hear rock. That's all
Yeah.
I require, really, to be honest.
See how this does. What's this giving me? Apparently not. Okay, I'm going to say then that there's a high-pitched sort of sound
Oh.
as it tries, and
Oh,
then
no.
and then you get into a sort of dull, like a low voice with a similar sort of guitar sound going. Going. You ain't nothing but a bad all the time.
Love it.
Nothing but a bad. And again, you get this sort of it squeals again, transitions into what is basically "Go Johnny Go."
Fucking love it.
You just
Excellent.
like the squeals again, and the bugman is like, turn that off.
Sorry. Yeah, I press another button.
You kind of hit another button.
Oh yeah, this is fucked. I'm gonna need some time.
And then after pressing a couple more, you actually find a weird little like button that is like an O that is in like a ring that is intercut with like a line, and then you tap that, and the whole screen goes black, and the sound goes out. And having done that, you can then hear just underneath all the murmuring and blah, 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 and chatter and hissing and frying, a strange sound like a whispering or a rustling or a gentle breeze, a soft sort of sound. And your eyes draw to the source of the sound. A curious sort of brass fitting. It's small. It's almost like a pair of inverted cones with a small hole where one meets the other. Like a funnel, except that the funnel neck widens back out again instead of remaining narrow. The cones have screw threads inside them, and between the two, on the outside, there is a brass screw at right angles to the point where the pair of funnels join.
You see, I know you're trying to describe something that we're all familiar with, and I just
Oh
can't.
no!
Oh, you're not?
I
Okay.
mean, it's something you might be familiar with, but won't. But on its own, is a bit weird. Yeah.
Okay.
Just imagine like a pair of funnels meeting in the center, with a screw on the side of them.
Right.
Um,
An hourglass.
well, perhaps, but there's like it'd be a very small one, and it doesn't have any tops or bottoms.
Yeah, it's like the stems pointing outwards from the middle.
Yeah. But
Okay.
would any of you like to pick it up?
I mean, I feel like I'm pretending to be the repairman, so I better had, really.
Okay,
But
pick it up.
I think to look like I'm doing something, I have a look at it to fix it.
As you pick it up, the sort of sound continues in your ears, and you can and much like holding the clock pieces before, you get a sense of direction from it, that it's leading you out of this noodle bar.
You got something?
Yes, this is the same thing as the clock.
All right.
I need to go and get some parts for this to fix
Yeah,
it.
gotta get parts to
Yeah.
fix the
Whatever.
juice.
I had to
box
stop
that
it before I
belongs
got
to the
started
juice, the
again.
juice box. Yeah, gotta get the parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Like,
Repairs.
looking at the thing, Corzin is going to reach down, touch the ground, and cast Primeval Awareness, see if there is anything that immediately pings up in the general vicinity. I don't imagine he is anywhere near the coast right now, so it'll only be
You
a
are
mile.
decidedly not near the coast right now. You sense the usual, the roar of the eye, the roar of the sea, the little piccolo face scent of
Marjorie?
Marjorie. There we go.
Yeah.
Cockroach. Marjorie. She's still a cockroach? I think she's still a cockroach.
Who is still a cockroach, currently perched on your shoulder, and wiggling her little antennae.
I still love her.
And not a lot else, actually. If anything, there's a strangely sterile absence that you could almost feel. Like there's... It's something that you've never really noticed, because, like, it's feedback of a type that you never noticed, because along with this distinctive sense of, like, you know, like dragons and elementals and undead and all that you get, there is always like a backwash that comes with it, a background noise, just the feeling of the life of the world.
Okay, so like people in general.
More than that, just
Or
trees
just anything living.
and trees and wildlife and everything. Like that's so background noisy that you don't get anything meaningful out of it.
Yeah.
And it's like that background noise is muted, almost absent.
That's weird.
He's detecting for parts.
Yeah.
That's it to the map.
Gotta do that. That's what you do.
Yeah.
They have completely lost interest in you, busy trying to make up the orders for the various.
I'm actually making it worse.
Yeah.
What's weird?
Well, there isn't anything that I wouldn't be expecting to sense here, but also it's like everything else in the world's just a little bit quieter. And weirdly, like being as we're in this place right now, it's that's got to be like weirdly juxtaposed.
Well,
Right.
I mean, we don't know that any of the other people here are real people.
Well,
Really?
but this part didn't register as anything, so I was wondering though if maybe it did. But if it's leading you somewhere, I think we should follow wherever it's leading you.
That feels strange.
All right.
What do you suppose it's part of?
I think we need to see the next bit to know, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I
Even
mean,
then,
we were able to tell
don't
pretty
know.
quickly it was all clocks, but this doesn't look like a part of any clock I've ever seen.
We should move.
Yeah, but there's a lot of weird stuff here, isn't there?
We should keep moving. The longer we're
Yeah.
here, the more hostility we're going to draw.
Right.
Gotcha.
Let's move then.
You step out of the noodle
Can I
bar.
do this?
Yeah, go on.
Oh, it's really dumb.
Go on.
I'm gonna
Do
get
it.
people pissed off. I want to nick one of their cigarettes.
Sleight of hand check.
I want to try one. Yep. All them pulling coins out of ears at the start of the podcast. We shall see if that helps. 15.
Snatch a ciggy. Someone just you'd have a small cardboard packet of these, and as they're busy kind of shoveling noodles into their place and trying to fish one out of the packet themselves, you snatch it and walk off, and with a little bit of
Oh yeah, I smoke it
Prestidigitation.
like immediately because I want to know.
you light it. It goes out almost immediately, and then it takes a few tries to get the trick of like drawing in while you light it.
It's harder with a pipe.
Actually, yeah. So actually, sorry, that's a good point. You would actually, in that case, you
It is a bit
put it
different
in,
though, so
pull it, and like, oh, it actually lights really quickly.
If it's a straight, like
Yeah, this
real
is-
fast
Yeah, this is it's
rather
just
than a rolling. Like,
yeah, this is a straight pre-made one, and in fact,
yeah, they've got like accelerants in it. Like it's real easy. compared to like a pipe, anyway. It's hard to light a cigarette if you haven't lit anything. But if you're used to lighting a pipe, it's probably easier.
Oh yeah. And these don't have filters yet, or at least not the place that they're from.
Oh, it might be a rolling then.
Would
I don't know actually.
These cigars.
Like these are 0.6% of them would have filters, so maybe it does. The point is, though, this is definitely a machine rolled cigarette. Yeah,
Right.
Different to what I'm used to. Then.
yeah.
Probably really nice compared to like the Celestia's.
Oh yeah,
shitty
this is
pipe
like
tobacco
weirdly rich and
that we've
like,
established is shit.
Yeah, and
Saran was
intense.
horrified.
Yeah, you could get used to these.
Ooh, that is smooth. Woo. Smoking vicariously through Celestia again, don't mind me.
As you step out, you can see that a straight concourse leads out from the noodle bar in either direction, flanked on all sides by shops, kind of as if you've reached some sort of indoor marketplace. You could believe that you were in a dwarven market, in fact, except for the lack of stone. Every structure here seems to be made from painted metal, glowing glass, or the same oddly reflective, colourful material that those rectangular slips were made from. There are no windows out of this strange shopping centre either, but the shops have glass fronts and are brightly coloured, and also have brightly coloured illuminated signs in similar fashion to those in the diner. And I do mean like a mixture of like those like shaped neon and cheerful cartoon characters. There is a sort of unifying feel, but at points it verges on graphic design being someone's passion. Like the style here is busy, bright and colourful in the architecture, not so much in the clothing. People of all races and species hurry and throng through the concourse, garbed in more of these colourful print dresses, or strange suits of grey, brown and black cotton or flannel, wearing neckties of an unfamiliar style, tipping short-brimmed hats, and I do want you to think fedoras here, and carrying around black briefcases. Everyone is smoking! These tiny cigars seem to be the favoured drug of choice, though you do see a couple of dragonborn with pipes walking by as well.
There's a lot going on here.
You can kind of feel the sound, or the whispering sound, leading you towards something that you can see the sign. It's odd. It appears to be a lowercase letter A, but with a tail wrapped round itself, inside what appears to be a cup of coffee.
Huh.
Do they like sweeten their coffee with words?
I feel like I'm missing something here. Is it an apple coffee?
No, the dominant brand is pear.
I was just thinking of things that began with A, I'll be honest. Almond coffee. That sounds nice, actually.
Begins with A.
Yeah.
It's got a long tail.
It varies how
A long
much.
tail.
I know.
Are you the same? Oh, you were a minute ago.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
cool.
yes. No,
I thought I'd
No,
check.
it's still the
We
same.
moved place. You were different last time.
Yes.
Yeah.
They do.
And you're you're from no Captain Brandy.
Captain Horhace, I've got the eye.
Got it. Let's keep moving. She just pulled
Yeah.
back a little and put her hand like tentatively on your shoulder, Scamp. Listen, what you said before.
Yeah.
I'm not the me that can best comfort you, but you did what you thought was right, and I get I get the need for revenge, but you were fighting for your people.
What did I do?
After Horhace, you helped build the Republic of Sul. When you killed the king and
I've not
and
killed
the nobles.
Well, no, they are all. To be honest, no.
So you didn't lead the terror. Is the current is the current president is your current president named Jacqueline?
No. Jacqueline had a bad day. Quite a few bad days.
Made a deal with the wrong person.
Yes, I know.
We found a compromise
bad
that
days.
I'm not convinced it was the best option overall, but
Me neither these
no,
days.
it wasn't a slaughter.
Jean-Paul Zavat's president.
Oh, the academic.
Yeah.
But what about if this isn't? I apologize. This is. I need to know these things. To ask these things. In as removed a way as you can tell me. You don't need to dwell on the details. What was your worst day during the revolution?
Is she asking
And they took
Scamp or
Celestia
everyone?
away.
Scamp. She's very clearly asking Scamp.
I'm sorry, my love. What
When
did you say?
Celestia got taken.
Yeah.
Okay. That's. I'm glad. I'm glad that was your worst day.
I think. Am I forgetting anything?
No.
No, I mean, there were bad ones, but that was definitely the standout worst.
And Horhace is intact. Everyone's fine.
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, last I saw.
I don't know what your future holds then. And enjoy that. Be the best you can be.
Okay. What does that mean for you, though? And the next yous, what will come back here eventually? Are you going to be able to help future yous?
When I'm together, I can predict again. And it will be accurate at the moment of prediction, as it always is.
Okay, so this is what would have happened at the time that you were last split.
She smiles a little. You are smart.
No!
You are.
As you're about halfway towards this this sort of a cafe, which you can see now is a curious mixture of what appears to be tables with coffee being served and lots of more of these little black tablets, like on little arms resting up from the table. But also, to one side, an arcade full of strange machines with brightly coloured screens and curious levers and dials, mostly populated by children and teenagers for some reason.
Oh dear. I feel like I should roll a wisdom save.
You hear a ding sound, and a pair of doors slide open. And out of them, a phalanx of Achene, wearing bronze armour and carrying long spears, longer than the glaives you're familiar with,
Everything's fucked again.
burst out, backed by a hill giant, for want of a better, as far as you can tell, in a white robe, who frankly has to kind of move on his hands and knees to get out of the this strange cramped space, but is bearing some sort of complex mithril staff. Fuck, says Cassandra. They found us.
Who?
Were they looking for us?
and with a moment, with a very there we go, and with a heavy sort of the hill giant strikes the staff on the ground. Several pieces of it spin in place, and you and Celestia and Corzin, you see a spirit emerge from a small metal orb they're carrying. Flow into the world and suddenly become encased in planes of reddish light before transforming into a not unfamiliar looking barbed figure with branching horns, long hair that goes over its face, and a pair of wicked looking whips. The crowd scream, panic,
Sensible.
and start stampeding, which is good because it gives you a moment of cover as you hear Corzin, you're the only one who speaks Gigantic, and you just about make the giant crying out, "Find the seer!"
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Time to go.
Yeah, do we need a third one of these things?
Yeah, where's it pointing?
It's still pointing to. You've not yet reached the sort of
we haven't
cafe.
actually grabbed the
Yeah, you're halfway there. So, my question to you is: how do you want to? What tactics do you want to use to get there?
I feel like somebody else has to lead this one because I've done the last one. In terms of like, if this is a few skill checks, it feels like
Yeah, fair.
Someone else should
someone
lead this
else's
one.
turn is usually.
How
the
far
rule,
away
isn't it?
is it?
It's probably only about 50 feet away. But it's 50 feet through a stampeding crowd while a phalanx of Inchin are basically just cutting down civilians with spears. Civilians in just cotton clothing. While the demon starts whipping, bringing people down, and is clear and audibly sniffing, searching.
Okay, and is it clearly like it's an object that we need to get rather than? Do we know what the thing? Like, it's a thing we can see that we need to grab this thing.
You know that it's in
Or is it
this
just in that
location. You need to get
Okay,
there
so we have to
first.
get there. Cool. Fuck, I don't know. Ooh. I could clear a path for us.
Yep. Sensible idea.
I'm just gonna cast Sustained Wind.
Nice.
Just clear a path.
Cast fuck.
Allowed.
What
That's better
level?
than my idea.
What level is sustained wind?
4th.
Can I ask you for an Arcana check with advantage, please?
Cool.
Can I give them inspiration?
Yes, you
Not
can.
allowed. I just give them a little like elbow and a wink.
Let's do something. Well, I rolled on the new dice I got from the Samathy. So that's gone well. Well done, this new dice.
Hooray.
That's a 22.
Okay.
Without using the inspiration.
As you gather your spell together, Victory puts her hand on your shoulder, and you can feel her doing something to assist you, as well as Celestia's moment of inspiration supporting you. And with a blast of wind going forward, you knock numerous people out of the way, people fall to the ground or fly apart. A loose bench kind of flings to one side. Unattended briefcases spill open, sending papers into the air. The hill giant points there. As you run forwards, you turn briefly, and the Achene moving forwards are similarly blown backwards by the wind. collectively, you scramble over to this strange cafe full of brightly coloured moving lights and symbols and bizarreness. Scamp, your eye is briefly caught by one thing with strange little brightly coloured sweets drawn on it, an instruction to crush the candy. But before your attention can be pulled on, you feel the intensity of the moment gives you a familiar surge. Roll 2d 100s, please.
Oh dear.
Oh no, you're feeling very
47
and
and 35.
Okay. You feel reality splitting for a moment. 35 was the other one.
Yeah, 47, 35.
Between the world growing cold or the world growing grey.
Does it feel like either of those are particularly harmful to me or people I like?
One is very cold and one is very grey.
You're so mean today.
Real hard to tell. You definitely feel like this is going to affect you.
He's smirking into table fables.
I mean, that is potentially preferable to the vanilla version, which would be potentially changing age, which you know we don't want.
I like that we're referring to the player's handbook as the vanilla version of D&D.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Perfect.
Right. Oh. I don't like the sound of grey, but cold sounds horrible. I hate the cold.
Okay. Pick quickly.
Fuck it. Let's go for grey.
Okay.
Scamp really don't like the cold.
The colour of the world leaches out, and you find yourself moving through a world that is entirely in shades of grey. You've lost your colour vision.
We're in a noir film.
Yeah, everything. And actually, honestly, the people
can
dressed
everyone
in.
see it?
Yeah, no, just Scamp.
Oh, weird.
Although Scamp's irises also go grey. No, Scamp doesn't have irises. Scamp has blank tiefling eyes. Scamp's eyes go grey instead of pink. And
The most colourful, interesting place, and I lose my ability to see colour.
I know. Although everything is very noir now, especially with all the fedoras and trench coats.
Yeah.
Not that Scamp knows that.
Yeah.
They're just like, poo.
Okay, but as you scramble into the this cafe, you can hear the sand leading you towards one of the towards the desk. Scamp, at this, can you roll a luck check for me, please?
That's a 1.
Scamp is facing the desk, and you see, just as you spot on the desk, a curious round bulb of blown glass tapering to a hollow point. The bulb flies into the air, propelled by the wind. And
I'm going to turn the wind backwards at this point.
Yeah, you
because that's
spit the wind
keeping
behind
the
you.
people away from us.
So the bulb hits the ground with a collection of various strange futuristic bric-a-brac and a lot of spilled cigarettes. Several packets of spilled cigarettes.
No, I picked
Grab
up
it.
some cigarettes.
Roll 1d4.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm going for,
While
so I can
Celestia is
grab
picking
a
up
handful.
the cigarettes,
One.
you pick up one packet of cigarettes.
Woo!
Who wants to go for the bulb that Celestia was clearly looking at before it flung into the air?
Cousin, could
I'm gonna
you
try and
grab
grab
that
it.
thing? Because I'm
Okay.
going to keep this wind going backwards.
You grab the bulb of blown glass, and you too can now hear the sort of sound. Interestingly, the end of this bulb has a screw thread worked into the glass.
Right, that can...
And
Right, I've got it!
And as you do that, you can hear the sound of sand leading you towards a rectangular panel in the back, or a metal panel in the back of the shop.
Okay, is that through where the giant and the Achina are currently?
No, it's the same shop you're in. You're
great,
literally
okay.
in the back.
Okay, let's go there then.
Right, okay. This way, quickly.
Right.
You
Okay,
reach.
I'm gonna stick at the back of the group.
Okay, you run forward to the panel. It seems it's slightly stretched out from the surrounding, and you're very easily able to grab it, and with a little effort, slide it up and out. And you can see there is what appears to be a tunnel, like a vertical tunnel, with a set of. It's not like a ladder, but like a set of recessed holes that you could use like a ladder to climb up or down. You've trying to think about this particular moment and how this would go. Yeah, you feel. You feel. You can hear the sound leading you down.
Alright, I think we're gonna go down here. It's...
Right.
What even is this?
Oh, fuck knows.
Okay.
You scramble into
I'm like
this.
edging my way down the tunnel.
Yeah, you scramble. You step into the tube, or climb into the tube, and start climbing your way down this strange metallic tube. Pipes surround you. Strange pipes and cables that run up and down. Some of which, including one that seems to be made of brightly glowing glass, or like thousands of fibers of glass all bundled together. You can hear as the five of you plus pets make your way down. You can hear the sound of fighting and a distant sort of sound going quieter until you reach the bottom, where you find another of these panels leading that you are able to remove from the inside and
I force my way out.
push out. You find yourself somewhere unexpected, given that you've just gone down.
We're in a basement, or wait a minute.
You would expect a basement, but instead, you find yourself in a coming out into a park at night. Lit.
I want to drop the wind just because it's not helpful right now.
Yeah, I mean, you've gone into
I'm
such a
just
small
gonna say
space.
it because I hadn't.
Yeah.
I hope it goes without saying that the repairman outfit was gone. Like,
Oh yeah,
forever.
just ages ago.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think as soon as we stopped talking to the guy, it's probably really annoying to do.
You
You just left it standing there, just the outfit.
Yeah,
on
just
its own.
walked out.
You can see, or you see, stretching out around you, carefully manicured grass and trees of different types. Looking up, you can see there is a slightly odd. There is a almost like a hazy sort of. Actually, I can say, yeah. You see what seems for a moment to be a pleasant blue sky, and then you very quickly realise it's painted on, and instead there are a series of these, not dissimilar to the ones in the bar, strips of bright lighting that are illuminating the park. Sorry, I think I said that the park. Sorry, the sky above is kind of painted evening-ish, I'm going to say.
So there's
Okay.
a roof.
There's a roof. There's definitely a roof. And interestingly, the roof, the park is weirdly narrow, but also long. As you step out of what you see seems to be almost like a decorated to look a bit like a tree branch, going straight up, and with some now that you look at it, weirdly fake looking branches around it. you can see that these grass and these trees have various tiled apertures vaguely resembling circular pools. You don't quite get a good look at them, but the landscape itself curves sharply up to the left and right, as if the park is in some sort of curved valley, maybe only a couple of hundred feet. Though it kind of like almost like a reverse horizon, you lose sight of it. Like the ceiling goes up, it goes up beyond the ceiling, but the park on the level seems to carry straight ahead, forwards and backwards, terminating in a weird sort of gentle blurring of colour about 1,000 feet ahead of you and about 100 feet behind. You can see...
Or this isn't right.
Yeah, there are various individuals, again in that sort of like very trench coats and fedoras and summery dresses style, walking casually around the park, enjoying the view, parading arm in arm, smoking. Mm-hmm. And somewhere, though it's not immediately clear, up ahead, you can feel the sand is leading you.
This is weird.
Yeah, this is weird. It's like it's inside, but it's outside, but it can't be,
I don't like the future.
Our character.
Yeah.
My first thought of Celestia is this the Underdark and they're doing a pretend park? I know it's probably not, but I feel like I have to ask because it's so on my mind.
You've seen a couple of drow wandering around, similarly dressed to everyone else smoking, who didn't really pay you any mind. But it could be. You've definitely not seen any natural light.
Not like plants,
But the plants weirdly are all surface plants.
There's light. So,
yeah. There's a familiar feeling to your father's solarium. As you move forwards, you notice the. This isn't terribly heavy, but I'd just like everyone to give me a perception check, please.
Sure, sight-based?
Yeah.
3.
That is the
I am not
third
adjusting
3 I've
to
rolled
the
on
lack
that
of
dice.
colour vision. Can I still not see colours? Is this just permanent now?
Your colour vision has not yet returned.
It's a 9.
Dirty 20.
I'm not adjusting well. That's
8.
Yeah.
Apologise.
Scamp and Celestia, your eyes are drawn to some of the circular pools as you pass. You see that around these sort of tiled apertures, they're like little circles surrounded by, they almost feel like grey rocks, except that they're clearly like moulded stone meant to feel like smooth grey rocks, like tiled, like the edge of a swimming pool. And you can see these have, sorry Scamp, you can't see this part, brightly coloured fish in them. Largely very, quite ornamental in appearance. And they seem, there's water in them that seems to be providing, a space for the fish, but also some decorative pond life, and seems to be connected to, you notice, thin little pipes that travel under the ground and then pop up. You see one of them in the distance provide a small misting of water for a few moments before passing. Corzin.
Two things. One, actually, since we got here, has there been a dramatic upshift or downshift in the number of spirits that I have seen?
You have interestingly, you have seen the occasional. Generally, you haven't seen many spirits in the Citadel, but you have seen one or two in this place. Less than you really expect for such a populated area.
Yeah, okay.
But
bearing that in mind,
yeah, one or two are still around. You can see one or two here.
Second thing,
yeah.
Like, how high above us is the ceiling / sky?
The ceiling / high is not far above you, honestly. These trees are pretty short. Like, I want to say, only 40 feet up.
Oh, not that high.
Corzin's going to take out a single shot and throw it by hand up to see if it hits it.
Okay. I mean, you could probably throw 40 feet up if you're good at it. Give me.
If you're Corzin.
Yeah. Just give me a strength check, I suppose.
Okay, just straight strength.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, technically you make a throwing attack if you want, but...
I mean, I'm not trying to
You
damage
fuck up
anything,
that
I'm just
ceiling.
trying to see if it actually hits anything, if this is an illusion.
Yeah.
Okay, that's well, if it's strength and not athletics, that's actually just a 13.
With athletics, let's say.
Okay, if it's with athletics, that's an 18.
Okay, you are you're pretty good at throwing. So I'll say that you are able to get the full 40 feet up before the bit of shot bounces off the painted ceiling and comes back down. A passing couple give you kind of a disapproving look as they wander by.
Being an asshole. As far as they're concerned.
There is some, as you're walking by though, in the general direction of where the sand is going, you notice and it's so hard for you not to look. You notice a different circular pool. One of you realise a few, less than the fish ponds. And instead of water, you can see a thick plane of glass, and below you, what appears to be the night sky. Stars moving steadily from left to right.
If I look into it, is it like a mirror?
Walking over and looking down, nope, you can see. I mean, you can faintly see a little bit of your reflection because it's glass, but you can see stars.
Are we in the one place that has not been corrupted by capitalism?
I assure you, this place definitely has been corrupted by capitalism. But yeah, it's odd. It's like you're seeing the night sky on a perfect middle of the night. It's actually weird because you can see more than you've even seen in some of the darkest, furthest out places you've been in the midst of when you've been in the midst of the ocean.
Okay.
The sky seems blacker than you've ever seen it. Beyond, there's no faint hint of blue, and the stars are more and clearer than you've ever seen them, especially with your fucking eyes.
Wow, okay. So it's, would the impression I get be that this is somehow, if not fake, then enhanced somehow? Like how my own natural vision is enhanced by the belt I'm wearing?
You have no idea, but
okay.
You just that it's a clearer night sky than you've ever seen.
Spies.
Spies. Okay. Good. Actually, does Corzin recognize any constellations, celestial bodies of any kind?
Ooh, roll me a navigator check.
Okay. And I have navigator's tools, so yes.
Quickly grab a chart and examine.
Okay, that would be a 19.
You do actually see the boar wheel past at one point.
Alright, that's the boar. Alright, so it's definitely our night sky, give or take a little. So how is this possible?
I mean, I'm assuming that we've drifted over to where Corzin is.
Yeah, you've seen Corzin staring down and getting out his tools.
Ab
this
fab,
is
down
at the thing,
fag
then
and
up
mouth
at the fake
Celestia.
ceiling, then down at the thing. And...
I want to touch it.
Okay, you feel cold glass.
I'm fucking stumped, man. I don't know about anybody else.
Is it? We aren't able to see, like, it's on the ground, right? So we can't, like, see under it.
No, the like, peering, you can see the point where the sort of nice, sort of artificial stone connects with the glass. And you can see a little bit of what you think is metal in a rim around it that presumably continues on somewhere. But yeah, this is looking straight down.
It's kind of visibly moving.
Yeah.
So what's a slab full of stars doing on here?
Slab full of stars. I have a question.
Where is... Go on.
How do we know those aren't the stars? As in, like how do I don't know.
As you
Are we
ponder,
looking at the sky?
Olga wanted to go into space.
as you
Olga, you are making a leap that we could make.
Yes, that is the leap that you make.
You gotta say it. You gotta figure out how it works to say it, but you're making a leap.
The temptation to try and go outside and see what happens is very strong.
I mean, I really want to know what happens if, like, I put my fist through this glass. But
I want to know what happens if I just, like, have a little teleport outside.
As you're
I really
do that until we know
shouldn't,
what we're
should I?
doing.
know, man.
as you're briefly considering this, you hear
Probably really cold.
a splashing sound, and you turn your heads, except for Corzin, you don't need to, as you see emerging from one of the pools is a cadre of Sawagin.
Okay, weapons ready.
You see some of the beefiest looking Sawagin warriors you've ever seen emerge. Not in their usual kind of like scavengy light clothing, but what it appears to be in armor made from carved and reinforced looking coral, with long spears that have sharp coral-tipped blades, and you can see that there is that the smaller Sawagin amongst them is dressed in ceremonial jewellery with a definite sort of nautical theme, but wearing a dress which is far more involved. Has elaborate weavings of like whatever seaweed-esque thread they use, and clear patterns. Frankly, Sawagin displaying a level of culture, almost, that you've not really seen, or at least industrial development in their culture.
Okay.
And Cassandra grabs you and pulls you down and goes, "Shit! These people are from my time."
Right.
When's that?
Tyre, before Tyre became an empire, right?
Yes.
Genuinely.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, before the empire.
Oh, wow. That's...
Oh, a long while.
How do they do it? Right, it makes about as much sense as anything else we've seen since we arrived here.
Where are we right now? Is this the Underdark, and then there's the sky? I'm confused.
Are we like really high up in the sky?
That's a great way of putting it, and I think
this a window?
Yes, and these are some lovely questions for us to answer after we find the next piece.
Right.
Where's the next
somewhere
thing?
else.
Okay, yeah.
Corzin, you've got a hold of it. Where's it taking you?
Yeah, Corzin is going to start running in the direction it appears to be.
You get the sense that the piece is somewhere quite close to where the Sawagin came up and are currently searching around. As someone steps forward to the like an angry kind of looking dragonborn to protest. Takes his pipe out of his mouth. Like, "Hey, you can't be coming around here!" And the Sawagin priestess smacks her jeweled staff on the ground, and a series of tentacles burst out of the undergrowth and tear him to pieces. Corzin, Celestia, you see a flicker as a spirit escapes his body and vanishes.
That doesn't usually happen.
Unlike when you've seen, say, a conjured demon disintegrate, though, the meaty pieces on the ground look pretty real.
Okay.
That's not how that works, is it?
No.
We're straying into questions I've already answered. Ask me these again.
Right.
Right, now, so, Corzin, you can see that the Sawagin are... Again, fortunately, people are screaming now, which is causing some chaos, but the Sawagin are definitely on the lookout and starting to fan out and spread.
They're kind of in the way, right?
They're broadly in the way. You can tell that you need to get somewhere nearby. Mm-hmm. How do you want to handle getting to...
I have an idea.
Where this is leading?
Go on.
Yeah.
I could do... I've still got a major image in me. I could do a fake our party running away.
Good idea.
As a distraction. What do we feel about that?
Yeah. Very good idea.
I will say that this gives advantage to a check that someone can take. Who went last? It was Scamp. So either Corzin or Celestia can take to
I can handle this one.
That. What skill would you like to use? Like, how do you want to approach?
Well, if I'm trying to find precisely what it is that we're looking for here, I think probably perception is the best bet. But the way I'm specifically going to use this is I know sort of what direction the items that we currently have are drawing me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be, like, facing in that direction. Not that it really matters for Corzin, but I'm going to be facing in that direction. And before I start moving, I'm going to, like, start eliminating possibilities of what of the things it can't be.
Got it.
So, like, it's not going to be stuff that is attached to the ground. It's going to be something that looks presumably like it goes with what I've already got. That sort of thing. So is there anything in my current field of view that looks like it might match up with what we've already got?
Alright. This is closer to an investigation check, actually, but...
okay, that's fine.
But roll that with advantage, please.
Okay.
Because you're kind of using your intellect to root out different areas based on what you can see.
Okay, glad I had advantage there. That is an 18.
Okay. It does have, taking into account your perception, that is enough. You are able, so, Celestia, what does your image do such look like?
Does the standard, like, getting the Rainbow Spirit and doing, like, shitty drawings of everybody in their hand, and then they throw it, and it looks like our party. Mm-hmm. And basically, they're quite, like, noisy about it. Like, Cassandra goes, "Hurry, we have to get away!" And Corzin goes, "This way!" And, like has the piece of kit that Corzin is currently holding and is, like, following it. And Celestia and Scamp are, like, running behind. Being like, "Quick, they're going to catch us up!" Like, it's all very
As your
loud.
panicking party starts running in a different direction, the Sawagin priestess, one of the Sawagin warriors, like, points, and again, in Sawagin, which only Corzin understands, calls out, "That way, the seer!" The priestess gestures, and again, like, twisting tentacles emerge from pools and wrangles and start trying to tear apart the party or capture them, who... depending on how you're doing it, either miraculously evade or, like, get caught for a moment and then pull away, keeping up the illusion long enough for you to hurriedly work out, can't be there, can't be there, can't be there, can't be there. You make a guess and hurry along behind them, right behind them. Scamp, you running by Corzin, checking the different spaces. You see in one of the pools there is, floating on the bobbing on the surface, there is another round bulb of blown glass, just like Corzin's, tapering to a hollow point identical to the first, screw thread on the top on the tapering point, but this one is filled with fine golden grains of sand.
It is an hourglass.
Yeah, looks like we've got...
Yoink!
Okay,
Yep.
as you pick it up, you can hear that flowing sound, and you can feel it leading you towards a pair of doors that are set into another of these faux tree trunks.
All right, everybody into the fake tree.
Okay, as you get close,
Great,
that
the
way.
doors go ding and just open on their own, and you can see there is a small circular chamber with a set, and on one wall there are a series of dully lit little panels that seem to indicate the layout. They almost look like like plans for a building, but it's just like story by story or line by line. And the bottom one, the Arboretum, it says, is lit up.
What is this then, folks?
Scamp,
yeah.
you can hear the sound going up, like straight up. And Cassandra comes in. Pick a destination. Just close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors.
How?
Up. How do we go up?
She gestures at the little diagram with the different
A
levels.
poke one.
Okay,
That's not the one we're on.
Yeah.
how far up
one's
do you?
up?
How many floors are there?
All
I'm
the
going to say
way.
7. Okay, you go to the top one. Dock. As you press that, it glows up yellow, and as the Sargine turn and spot the real party, the doors shut.
The fake party flip them off.
Okay, you see them
I'm
flip
an
them off as the
asshole,
doors vanish. And you hear a sort of sound, and the little light turns off on the bottom floor, turns up on the next one, and then
Is
starts
there music?
winking out. There is indeed a soft sort of...
Where's that coming from?
I'm both very claustrophobic and very angry right now, if I'm honest.
I've never heard anything more beautiful in my life.
I wish I was dead. This is terrible.
I need each of you to give me a raw wisdom check, please.
Wisdom check, okay?
Oh, two of us giggling. Oh,
7.
I cannot roll today, folks. 5.
11.
Oh, God.
Scamp.
Really?
You feel yourself getting lighter as the room sort of hums and the light goes up. Your inner ear, weirdly, you can have a feeling that you're going upwards, sort of, but it's getting very confused. Like, it starts to lose that sensation, and the world is getting lighter, almost like a flight spell, but not quite the same. When you're flying, you
Like
still...
a reverse gravity spell for that,
In fact,
that moment where
actually,
you first
yeah.
get by it.
For that first moment of when it's going off, you can feel... It feels like the spell that makes everything go up. And soon all of you start to feel a strangeness, like the world is less heavy. And then, with a ding, the doors slide open.
Anyone else feel a bit like they're pissed or high?
More like I was flying.
You step out and you look up, and you can see a ceiling hundreds of feet above you that curves around until it becomes the walls and the floor. A vast cylinder filled with strange platforms, pipes and machines. You can see bizarre vessels of what you think is painted mithril somewhere between the sky machines that you saw before and those armoured land ships that sit on the inner surface of this strange cylinder. Some on the ground like you, others hanging to the walls, others hanging to the ceiling, mostly on raised...
Can I try walking up a wall?
You can in a moment. There's a bit more to see. In between some of the platforms, you can see raised, rotating turrets with what appear to be gun ports, not unlike those of the land ship, but with nowhere for anyone to stand or operate them, apart from some odd, glowing rectangular screens. And at the far end, a vast, double-layered dome of mithril and thick glass shows what appears to be a vast blue curve with dead black above. Until you realise what you're seeing isn't just a curve. It's an unfathomably great rotating orb, only part of which you can see, and flickering across its surface at speed are green-brown shapes that you recognise, if only from maps, the continents of Calcinea.
Are we on the moon? Or just in space?
Because you've done this to us before in another campaign.
Yeah.
And we freaked the fuck out.
Shit.
It's incredible.
I'm going to try walking up a wall.
This is
It's not like any dock I've ever seen.
Scamp starts walking, and you see Scamp. You feel like you're just walking on the ground, but as you look back, you can see everyone else seems to be moving up onto the wall.
Yes!
And you see Scamp starting to just walk.
How
By
are
the
you
way,
doing that,
your
Scamp?
footsteps are so light. Like, you feel like you are barely staying on the ground.
I want to have a good look out that window. Because that's the impulse I'm getting. Like, really, go to the window and...
The window is hundreds of feet away, but, like, it's big enough that you can still see through it.
I really want to have a look.
If you want to start moving over there, you definitely can.
That would be this is the impulse.
Yeah, Corzin is going to go
Like,
in
you
that
have
direction
to,
as well.
don't you?
Yeah.
I want to try jumping off the wall.
Yeah, okay. Give me an acrobatics check, please.
Oh, it's not bad for me. Acrobatics 17.
17. You kind of on your knees and launch yourself into the air. Like, you try and jump as high as you can, and you keep jumping. Like, you jump up and you feel like, yeah, you could jump way high. And then you're not really coming down. You continue sailing up, and you realise that as you get towards the centre of this huge cylinder, you weigh nothing. You also have no way to stop. I'm going to come back to what you see in a moment, because you see two things. Corzin, Celestia, you scramble forwards as quickly as you can to the edge of this vast...
I just think you've got to press your face up against the glass if that's a thing.
Yeah,
you
the
can see
turrets
this
don't
dome,
look
by
like
the
they're
way.
threatening us, do they?
There is, like, something in the middle of this dome as well. It's almost like a letterbox, or like or like two sort of fields of some of like glimmering force, slightly hazy force, suspended in like a rectangle of mithril. And you realise, getting up close, that this actually is a pretty lengthy sort of little letterbox. Like, it's at least 30 feet deep. This dome is fucking massive, even though the letterbox protrudes a little bit. But it is just about the right size that even the largest of these strange vessels could carefully fit through it. And yeah, standing up on the edge, pressing right up against the edge, you can see the world extending down below. Below, far enough that, like, whatever this place is, like, blocks your sight of more of it. And in the distance, you can just faintly see... you've just caught it as it passes beyond your view. The faint orb of the moon, half lit by sun, but seen from outside Calcinea.
That's Calcinea, isn't it?
It must be.
That's
Look at
where
the
we
continents.
live.
That's...
And that would be the moon, wouldn't it?
We're high, unbelievably high.
We are so tiny.
You actually realise...
Corzin is going to be weeping slightly at this sight.
Something odd, actually. As you look at the stars, and you can, now that you're close enough, you can just faintly see stars, though it's actually harder to see them against the bright blue glare of the world. You can see that the stars are actually rotating around. In fact...
Rotating around...
rotate not around the world, but, like, relative to your position.
Mm-hmm.
You realise... this whole place is spinning.
I don't know what to do with this information. I don't think I'd quite pictured that being where we live.
It's...
Victory and Cassandra have joined you and just taken a moment.
It's like... with the spinning thing, and... Stop me if this is too much of a logical leap for him to make, but it's like, have you ever had a bucket of water that's only like half full, and then you like spin it around fast enough and none of it comes out? Is that what this is? Is this how we're kind of like still, staying down rather than just floating off into wherever?
I can't say I've done that, but it sounds fun.
Scamp, do you have any instinctive reaction to the fact that you can just launch yourself into the air and keep going?
I mean, does it look like I'm going to hit a wall at some point without ever slowing down?
You're starting to realise that is probably going to happen. I'm just curious whether you make any sounds.
Well, I'm definitely making noise. I'm definitely going, whee!
Yeah, you hear the sort of whee sound from behind you and you look backwards.
Scamp?
And you can see Scamp sailing through the middle of the through the air in the centre.
What are you doing up there?
You should try jumping. It's a terrible idea.
Scamp, you can see two things as you float past the centre and start moving towards. You realise the ground that is also the ceiling, and it's very swiftly going to become the ground again. Hanging dead in the centre of this dock is a triangular door-like platform with some sort of mechanical arm on it. You're not passing it at this exact moment, Scamp. You haven't angled yourself with this in mind, but you get close enough that you actually spot it. It's quite small. It's only door-sized in the middle of this huge cavernous cylinder. But you've now spotted it. And more importantly, you can hear the sound of leading towards it. The other thing you see is a huge pair of doors opening on what was the ground. And what is most definitely the form of a huge crimson-scaled and feathered dragon.
A space dragon.
Begin to emerge and call out. Does anyone here speak Draconic?
Oh, definitely not.
No. Damn, I don't.
And
Just victory.
I'm going to say, fuck it. Yeah, Victory's had an interesting education.
Okay.
You look around as if for confusion, and Victory
Anyone?
says, "The seer is here."
Nah, shit.
Okay. Who's
Oh, for
got
crying
the
out loud.
Who's got the sand timer? Do I have it?
You have one, and speaking of which, give me another acrobatics check as to make your landing as you sail down.
Stick the landing. Come on, stick the landing.
17?
You stick the landing.
Yes!
You tumble over and land lightly on the ground, but as the dragon emerges, he immediately opens up with a plume of flame and is going to try and cast his eyes around, looking presumably for you. You're pretty exposed because you're right. Most of you are right next to the giant dome.
It's just implausible that we wouldn't have had a look.
There are some people behind glass screens who seem to scream and run away. No one, but there's very few other people in this cylinder. Although interestingly, these gun turrets don't seem to react to the dragon.
They didn't react to us either, did they?
Nope. They're just sat there. They're brightly coloured screens flashing cheerfully.
Okay.
How do you... so, you can... all of you who are holding sand things can now feel them leading... the sounds going towards that tiny triangular door, which Scamp sort of like vaguely gestures at as they pass it.
Do we have to go past the dragon for that, or...?
The dragon is currently on the other side of it.
Okay.
He's just come out and it seems to be looking for you. But yeah, your question is... how do you want to proceed?
Try and do a fancy scamp jump, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just gotta do
Everyone's in the
space
triangle.
leap. Yeah.
Okay. Can I ask everyone? But I'm gonna.
Badly.
I'm actually gonna say that everyone's kind of doing this, and I'm gonna say that Victory kind of crackles her hands together and touches your arm, Celestia. You feel like a familiar buoyancy, which feels a little unnecessary, but maybe it will. Maybe the instincts will help.
Thanks.
As she casts flight on you.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same
Yeah.
on me and Corzin.
Can I have an
Okay.
Celestia, you're leading this. An acrobatics check with advantage, please. As the dragon spots you, launches into the air, and suddenly realizes that he's going slightly off course, tries to beat his wings, and ends up landing on the ground, which is the wall, before twisting and then launching himself again. Just because you can fly doesn't mean you're good at fighting in a zero-G environment.
Yeah.
Natural 20.
Okay.
Which is like a 32, if that's important.
Grabbing your friend's hands, you bend your knees and leap directly towards the triangular platform. The dragon hurls himself forwards,
I do a roll.
turns and breathes a plume of fire at you. You'd roll. Not only do you roll, you grabbing your friend's hands.
It looks awesome.
Drag them, like almost like pulling them out of the way, so that your collective weird formation flying roll narrowly avoids the edge of the cone of fire. The dragon kind of sweeps at you with his tail, but is ungainly and misses you, smashing into the platform on the other side. Before he's managed to gather himself together, the five of you are hurtling towards the platform. You reach out a hand, grab hold of it. The platform doesn't move. It hangs in the middle of the air like it's a solid point in space. As you kind of all grab hold of the platform, you can now see it closely. The platform hangs in space. It has a mechanical arm that is set sits on a wheel with an axle that is set into the platform. One end has a screw thread on it. Like it has like a little hole you could thread a screw into.
Oh, it's got to attach to this, right?
Surely.
Okay. So tell me how you want to put this together.
What bits do we have?
You have 2 glass bulbs with narrowed ends, which have screw threads on them. One of which has sand in.
You have a metal midsection.
You have the metal midsection that looks like two funnels with screw threads inside them, and a screw that sticks out at right angles.
I think we've got to make an hourglass and then put that.
And then use that
thing.
sticky out
Okay,
screw to
you quickly assemble the hourglass together, screwing the 2 glass bulbs onto one another. You then screw the central portion onto the arm. Nothing happens. You see that the sand is just floating weightlessly in one of the hourglass bulbs.
Any insight, I turn to Cassandra.
The dragon turns. I don't know. It's got to be something to do with this place.
Can I try casting reverse gravity? And just make some gravity? Would that do it? Do I feel like that would have an effect?
It might. What direction do you want the gravity to go in?
Oh no!
Oh yes.
I want I want the sand to go down into the other bulb.
Okay.
Oh,
So that
clever.
it's moving.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. You gather together your power and
That's a fucking massive spell.
Tully, as Victory sees what you're doing, she says, "Everyone, grab on tight."
We can still fly.
We do so.
Some
I
of us can
can't.
still fly.
You cast the spell, and as the dragon is launching himself towards you for one last blow, you send the pulse of directed gravity away from you in the direction that the hourglass happens to be going, which is also the direction of the dome. And the dragon is suddenly caught in the pull of gravity. All of you grab on or use flight to resist it. The dragon is caught entirely by surprise, and you watch as he suddenly falls away from you at high speed towards the letterbox.
Oh.
And then passes through one of the force fields and the other. And you can't hear anything of his as his sudden desperate struggling.
We just shoved a dragon into space.
But before you can worry about that, the hourglass, the arm of the hourglass, the arm falls downwards, and the hourglass spins in position. The sand beginning to flow down, but the arm is on an arc, and it seems to have enough motion that the arm swings around a little. But as it does so, and it begins to spin in place, the hourglass spins with it, the sand being hurled from the inner globe to the outer globe by the centripetal force as it rotates. And that's enough. The bulb glows, the sand glows. Time begins to flow. The whole triangular platform lights up, and the world shifts. And as to what it shifts to, we'll find out after these, no doubt important, messages.
Warburtittle Synthmeat, eat one. As you travel the deserts of Eldanos, seeking evidence of the lost civilization of Dionysus Hospitality Agencies, helping you to do what thou wilt. Like, rate and subscribe to Flintlocks and Fireballs. Leave a review on iTunes and check out our Patreon content before somebody invents the wheel. One small step for a dragon, one giant cleanup for Gamma Shift.
And welcome back. The world shifts. And blinking, you find that the sky is clear and bright, the sun rising swiftly in the east, as it did back in Alisant. This gentle breeze carries the scent of baking bread, livestock, and the parched scent of dry clay dust. You stand in the midst of a bustling city, though one still smaller and less grand than the Alisant you were in before. Cleanly laid out streets with single-story buildings, built from blocks of adobe and bricks of baked clay. A wall of baked white brick encircles the city from a distance, but you can see how the river here has been tamed and reshaped, channeled for irrigation to support fields of grain and vegetables, though they look similar but different to those you're used to. The heads on the grain are smaller. The vegetables look spindlier or almost strangely primitive, closer to wild roots and shrubs than the vegetables you're used to seeing. Corzin, you catch sight of what something that looks like it hasn't quite made up its mind whether it wants to be Brussels sprouts or cabbage or a cabbage.
It's a confused brassica.
Yeah. And you can see fields of those. The fields, the streets, however, are filled with humans and halflings dressed in simple tunics, some with hose. The mode of dress is simple, pretty rustic for the most part, but the handful in more involved clothing that you can see are reminiscent of paintings from 1,000 years prior. You get the feeling that they would not look entirely out of place in tapestries from the days of Petrolier. Their tools, however, are anything but. They are using simple hand sickles of beaten copper to harvest grain, or axes of finely chipped stone to chop the wood. In the distance, you can see one structure larger than the others, presiding over the city. A pyramid of baked white brick blocks, surmounted by a cap of patterned grey-black metal.
I don't remember that being there. Is it still like there's lots of different periods of time happening at once?
You definitely feel like the architecture around you is of a theme, though the people and their clothing is less so.
The patterned black metal. I'm sorry. How big is that?
It is an impressively large pyramid, especially for the structures around, and the cap is pretty large as well, probably perhaps 20 feet wide at its widest point. And you do recognise both the metal. You do recognise the metal as the same as that of Riptide is made from, as being adamantium.
Mm-hmm. Does it look like the horrible one in the death place of Orphan?
And you now recognise the pyramid as well.
Yeah.
But you are not amidst forest. This is open plain. You can see what little you can see in between the gates of the city in the distance, and where the rolling plains rise slightly over the wall. This is plains and grassland, small dotted bits of wood, but not the all-encompassing forest, great forest of Meadmere.
Are there spirits?
You can indeed see some spirits fluttering around, less than you would expect, again, for a place, for a city. But there are spirits, and they follow people around. Many of them, you see that many of them are black spirits, and they cluster around people as they do their tasks. You can see a number seem to be going near people moulding bricks, and many seem to be carving things into these clay bricks before handing them off to someone to cart to what you can see is a distant kiln.
I want to get out Kevin the Brick.
You get out Kevin the Brick. The
Does he fit
style of brick matches exactly, as does the style of the writing.
Oh my god, Kevin's time has come.
I'm not giving Kevin up. Kevin's mine.
But yes, the kid Kevin, if I remember correctly, is the one you took from Kevin Nagash. Yes, the style of brick is
carrying this brick.
The style of brick perfectly
As if
matches
Kevin's
that.
come back.
Albeit with an unknown amount of times of age. Here, though, the bricks are being freshly made.
Kevin's family.
You do see figures wandering past small clay mound, like sort of almost small pillars of built bricks. And you see these bricks all have writing in them and have been made and these pillars are made of written bricks assembled together, and upon them has been placed someone has placed a simple, quite small to preserve the valuable metal, image of a bearded figure, of a bearded face in silver.
Do we recognise the face?
You recognise this face from
Me specifically?
from a vision of the past, when you once witnessed a woman wearing a fake silver beard presiding in front of the altar where the 7 skulls were found, and behind her at the time was an image of a bearded figure, of a bearded face, smiling face, half in silver and half of some black stone.
To save me figuring out how to say that, I relay this, if that's
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You relay
So
recognizing the
you know
image.
this as well.
So is it like Ellison and Kabir Nagash have just collided at speed, and this is the result?
I don't
I mean-
know.
That is some freaky shit, says Victory. This has just never come up in any of the stories you told me, so
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
Also,
What was that thing at the top of the pyramid?
It looks
The
like it's
spirits didn't
adamantine, but
wanna
the
go
amount
in.
of adamantine you'd need for that is...
I mean, the other one had a creepy old cat, didn't it?
Yeah,
Now,
it had-
important thing, is this exactly that one, or is it a one like it? Because...
Yeah,
as
what's
far
the
as you
layout
can
of the
tell,
town?
it's the same one.
Yeah. So
Right.
it had that thing at the top that spirits didn't want to go in. I don't think I could go in that these days. Just throwing that out there. This is a potential hazard because, I think we got away with it back then, but I don't think it'd work now, would it? I look at the Rainbow Spirit.
Rainbow Spirit looks, sort of twists in a sort of like,
He's like, I
eh,
wouldn't go near it now.
kind of feeling.
What about you? And Corzin turns to the octopus.
Octopus shrugs.
It's not quite the
It's-
same for you two, is it?
It's weird. It's similar, but not quite the same. Not. I get the feeling that this place isn't for me, but I'm not as unwelcome.
Right, so It's some sort of forbiddance. But it doesn't affect all spirits equally.
I mean, I think the problem that I see is that we're basically the same thing these days. I mean, kind of, right?
I mean, the Rainbow Spirit kind of thinks about this and sort of wobbles in an affirmative manner. Yeah, we're pretty close, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you're all in my veins and stuff, and
Yeah.
whatever your equivalent of veins is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. I mean, great and useful, but yeah, you cannot go somewhere that the rainbow can't if it's in your veins.
That's gone now. Yeah. that whole thing where we could be separate is not. Yeah. It's nice. But yeah, I thought it was one of my first thoughts thinking about that pyramid again. I thought I should say it out loud, like an adult.
Good to say.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope we don't need to go there. But
Yeah. Where are we
where's
going?
Cassandra?
You look around.
it's-
There is no you don't. Cassandra's not standing with you.
Right.
Yeah. This.
I mean, it might be a bit simplistic, but I could try sending to her.
that's not a terrible idea, actually.
Let's have a quick look. I mean, let's just check we can't see
Let's look first. Yeah.
someone
Right.
in
Yeah,
the
let's-
distance
let's
who might
actually
be
do a-
Cassandra, but
Yeah.
otherwise let's do that.
Yeah. If one of you would like to lead a check to search.
I have a question.
Certainly.
Yes.
The woman in the fake silver beard, was it Cassandra?
The
Good
woman with the
question.
fake silver beard, from memory, was
From
human.
the vision. Okay,
Human,
Human, yeah.
not an elf.
Not Cassandra. Also, it occurred to me.
No, good.
Well,
Good idea.
So what we do, we're looking for her.
Yep.
Would that be investigation?
It certainly can be if you'd like to lead that.
Unless anyone
We
else has
shall help
things.
you.
No, if it's investigation, yeah, you should do it.
Awesome. I assume you're all helping, so
Yes, definitely.
take that into account. Fucking asshole dice today, gang. Oh god. I mean, it's a 17, so it's not the worst, but yeah, not terrible. But
Scamp, you're getting a tingling feeling.
Yep. I'll do the thing. +2.
Okay. Alf, just as you're looking around, and it's taking you a few minutes, you're starting to kind of get the feeling that maybe she's not here, when, Scamp, you accidentally stub your toe.
Ow! Wait, that's impressive.
Stub your hoof on a little bit, or kind of the soft ankly bit on a stall. The table, which is basically just a bit of board, slides, and a bunch of half-made but not yet baked bricks slide off to the sort of sound. You get a very annoyed look from the halfling managing the stall. But you do hear someone call out, "Wait, what's that?" And you turn and see, drawn by the sound, is Cassandra. She looks similar to how she did before. The same body. She's still got the body armor and helmet, but she hasn't got the bandolier yet. And her wands are instead tucked into a belt. Still in the same green dress. And as she seems to focus in on the four of you in a way that no one else does, or seems to recognise that you're not dressed the way you should be, and quickly advances towards you. Are you real?
yeah.
Yes.
Is this now?
Yes,
Yeah.
we're definitely real.
Yes.
Cassandra?
Yes. So she looks at the pair of at Victory and Scamp. Are either of you me?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know.
I think we established no.
You said
Yeah,
no.
we think
saw
not.
you.
Damn it! I was hoping. I'd hoped
Sorry.
I'd finally made it here again. That it might be time, but we might be this time. We maybe. How many times have you met me?
Twice.
Yes.
This is the third.
You look familiar. I feel like I feel like I might have met you a long time ago. You have me at disadvantage. Cassandra.
Corzin Horhace.
Scamp.
Celestia Stardust, nice to meet you.
Again.
Victory. Cotzon. He's a captain, not a first mate, if that makes a difference. Okay. Nice to know that.
You haven't met us before, have you? As far as you're concerned.
I feel like you look vaguely familiar.
Okay, you knew everything about us last time.
Okay, so that
Yeah,
will
there
be...
was so much you were trying not to say.
But we did only very briefly meet you the first time, so maybe that one was before. And you're half remembering because it was just a quick moment.
Maybe.
Okay. If you've just got here, we might have a little time. When I first come together, it takes a while for everything to get hostile.
Does it always get hostile?
Yes.
Do you consistently pop up somewhere and wait a bit and then run?
That's sort of... Until I come together, yes, that's sort of how it works.
That's exhausting.
We probably have a little time, though. I can answer some questions.
Yes, you said you might.
Yes.
This time round, we've got a few that are definitely not written down on a phone over the break.
It
Give
was
me a
definitely sent to you.
minute.
Yeah.
There we go. No. I was doing it. No, this isn't happening. It is. You've sent them to me over the break. Yeah.
Well, I hope I get better at this in the future.
You kept asking us to ask you again later.
Yes.
And you're the seer. I think we've answered that question.
Yeah.
Yes. I am... My name's Cassandra, but they would also call me Phoebe, the seer.
Phoebe. Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Hi, thanks. I prefer Cassandra because that's my name.
Yeah.
Right, like how Scamp and Victory. Cool.
Yes.
That makes sense. I mean, one of the questions we had was how is this happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's causing all this?
The short answer is that I am, but the longer answer is, have the pair of you figured out who you are yet?
No.
Okay.
Any ideas?
I
We know
need
some
to,
we're not.
I'd need to see you, get to know you a bit more.
Cool. Yeah,
afraid.
sure.
Well, we can give you a list of the people they aren't, if that narrows it down at all.
There's 12 of us. It would take a while.
Yeah, there's other things, priorities, yeah.
Okay. The important thing, I guess the thing is that you've probably noticed, because there's two of you, in fact, you should have noticed this, and you'll have noticed this by looking at the others, that we usually have something special about us individually, something that we can do that the others can't, or that we lean a certain way. I sort of have two things that are one thing. I can see, and if you get it right, you can see anywhere now that isn't hidden. That's a power all of us could have. I can see everything and use that to make some very good guesses about what has been and what might be. It's more complex than that, but I shouldn't give you a full explanation of quantum mechanics. That would take a very long time. Now,
I did it with a snooker table on the last one. Actually, it was kind of cool.
I should remember that. I can see how I would do that. I don't fully understand all of the aspects of it because the furthest I've been able to see, they haven't figured it all out yet.
How far is that?
Yeah.
The furthest I was able to see that I remember seeing from previous times I've been able to predict was the mid to latter... What calendar are you using?
Regency.
Regency.
If that's okay.
21st century.
Right.
It could go further, but that's the furthest I've been able to see before the world ends.
Alright.
Okay.
Okay.
We are trying to fix that, if that helps.
Yeah. Yeah, the date changes.
Yeah,
It's-
we know.
Good. Well, the thing is, that's one half of what I can do. The other thing I can do is I can create... I would use the term simulacra. Others call them echoes. You can... All of us can learn how to do this with ourselves. I can make things and creatures and people that I have seen. And I can see the future and the past.
Right.
Okay.
When you find your wing, it will take years to develop the skill, but you will be able, within your wing of the Cirrus Citadel, you can shape it with... eventually to a point where it becomes reflexive. You can build, you can change, you can use your magic to change how things work, to make spells easier for you to cast, make it easier for you to flex your power. I filled this place with me. I'm getting ahead of myself. The point is that I built this place so that I could visualize, conjure up, and interact with what could be and what was.
So, is that what's caused all of this weird mishmash of everything happening at once?
Yes. Everything here is physical. Celestia, you check your pocket. You still have the cigarettes. Anything that you pick up here, I have made. If you've got it when you leave, it will come with you.
Okay.
Good to know.
It is in the now. But it's all... But I am the one making it. And the reason it's broken is because I'm functionally broken. Before... for want of a better word, the real me, the singular me, the me that did not come from this place. Phoebe, before the original Cassandra left, she wanted to try and see more, not to see more, but to process more of what she could see. And my skill is to create simulacra, to make echoes. I made dozens of copies of myself so that we could shoulder the load, perceive more, process more, see what might be or what was, and shape it. But we break apart, we desynchronize. It's hard for us to stay together. And that means that what we see and what we make can go rogue.
And that's this.
Yes, only some of us, usually about 3 at a time, can make it, as it were, to the foreground rather than the background. and were influenced by the bits of the predictions and the memory and the recall that we saw. So my knowledge of what might be, and even what has been, is only as accurate as when I last came together to make a prediction. The future, any futures you may have seen, may not come to pass. They were only the most likely one at the time when I last could predict.
Right, okay.
I mean, it's how the eye works, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah, I
changed
understand.
when... Yes. Are you connected to that at all? We were going to ask, actually.
No. Do you have one?
Yes?
The Eye of the Storm. I've never held one. I've stayed away from. I've stayed away from the attention it draws. The Eye of the Storm is one way to solve the problem of seeing too much, seeing all the futures that could be. It narrows your vision to just the most likely.
That makes sense.
But it blinds you to the edge cases. It blinds you to the less likely options. And it taps into someone who can process things more than I can, who has enough mind to do what dozens of me couldn't. You are seeing through her eye.
Kraken.
She nods. And that means you are... And that both gives you clarity and power, and your perception is filtered by hers.
So it's a biased future. Like filtered by her opinion, in a way.
By the way she views the world.
Exactly. Does that make sense? Like, but if she decides which one is most likely, then we're going to get a slightly biased future vision,
Or
right?
is it more like if you're looking at the world
think-
through a pane of smoked glass, it's going to be slightly distorted?
As far as I can guess, you're both right. There is the future that you see through the eye is very much subject to her own perception of how the world works. And she is active about defending the future as she sees it. And that's where the antagonism comes from, the hostility. There are parts of me that try to predict or that remember when she sent agents against me or manipulated things to come for me. But they're twisted by my perceptions. There are enemies that come for me that she doesn't have access to, or that I fought against, or that could be my enemies. And they hunt me. They are an unwanted obstacle in the path of getting together. And my perception is limited too. I can't see the pieces that are needed to put me back together, because they are outside of this. She gestures around. Not to mention blind spots. I can't see into any of the other wings. I can only see the parts at Calcinea, as it is now, in the parts that are not hidden, and here.
Okay.
So, being able to perceive the flow of time in some ways, that what makes you a threat to the Kraken?
I'm the only other figure that can do what she can do.
She doesn't like that.
Knowledge. My view of the future is biased by my perceptions, but my bias is different to hers.
We've got different goals, different values, different...
Experiences.
Yes.
Look, so many things.
And I'm also...
Yeah.
But I don't know where I am. What year is it now in the Regency calendar?
1798.
Where we came from, anyway.
Yeah, that's all you.
Okay. I was... When I set foot in here, my original, the first me, Tyre had yet to produce its first empress.
Shit.
Wow.
To my knowledge, no other instance of me has made it back here in that time. I don't know what that means. It could mean that none of the later me's have found this place. That there are dangers in getting here, and the signs are not always clear. It could be that they simply die or go insane too early in life. I did not have an easy early life. Seeing too much. She shakes her head. I would have died by now, even as an elf, unless I found one of the ways to extend my life.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There are means
Oh, there's a stone thing, isn't there?
that I do not know,
Holy Grail.
but others do. There are, yes, there are some legendary ways of extending your life that anyone can do. Sorcerers, I believe, can find other ways. There is a way for a sorcerer to live long beyond their means, their days. And for an elf, even something like if I could extend my life even 5-fold, I might still be alive.
That's something, I suppose.
But I don't know. Because I hid myself from the sight of others. And she gestures round. None of me here can see me.
I have an ability that allows me to, within a certain range, locate people. If I'm familiar with you here now, and I were to try and find another iteration of you, do you think it would be possible?
Only within this wing.
And there should only be one of you here.
If that, you are tapping into, for want of a better word, a framework that exists around the world that lets one see further. All who see at a distance do this. When I am together, I can see the whole of it. Even if only for an instance.
Do you want us to help you get back together? I think that's what we've been trying to do.
Yes, you need to bring me back together so I can show you the way on, and it will allow me to predict again, if only for a moment, and I will be able to see accurately.
If you were, still alive back in our place, if we tried to send to you, would it go through?
Would it work?
Or, if it were, I would not answer. I shielded myself from these things. There are certain sanctums one can create.
When we met you before, you asked us to ask you this again, but you know about the Eye of the Storm. Do you know, we have one, but we know there's more than that. How many
7.
are there?
7?
7?
Fuck.
Of course there's 7. It's always 7, isn't it?
Most lie in the hands of her servants.
So we've got 3 we don't know about.
The Reapers might have 3. Not Reapers, Reavers. I'm
Reavers.
sorry, we've been talking about the Reapers ball at LARP today. My brain is. The Reavers probably have 3 then, don't they?
Well, yeah,
Fuck.
probably.
Well,
And you
we're
can't
fucked.
use one to look at another.
It went weird when I did that before, didn't it?
It's an area I can't tell you. I didn't look into this on purpose.
Can I ask you a
So,
question?
did the Kraken create them? Sorry, go on.
Oh, you go first, it's okay.
Well, did the Kraken create these eyes then, or
What a
were they
shoot.
just...
Uh,
And if so, what for?
we're wandering into the realm of things I just don't know the answers to. I'm sorry. I can't look at the Kraken.
I have a non-Kraken related question. When we were in the big... Do you know the big tubey thing in the sky above Calcinea with the fake sky painted on it and in the stars?
It sounds like you're describing a sort of space station?
Yeah, yep. That has a name, right. So why is it called that? That's not my question.
It's a
but
station that it remains stationary, and it is in the space beyond the world.
Right. Space. A name. Great. Anyway, when we were there, which I don't know what fucking century we were in by that point, because fucking hell. But when people died, spirits came out of them. Is that because of you, or is that a thing that
Yes.
starts happening in the future? Because I would like to
That's
know.
me.
Okay, great.
Every creature you see here is a simulacrum. They're not dissimilar in nature to that cockroach.
Right.
Marjorie?
Oh, that makes
That
sense.
makes sense. Cool.
Marjorie's antennae wiggle.
Neither of us have told Scamp that Marjorie is
No.
a spirit. We just never mentioned it.
No!
Oh no. Yeah, I'm gonna let that hang.
I'm not entirely sure Scamp's put it together.
Great. Oh, well, I'm sitting here hoping they haven't, to be honest, because I don't want to have that chat.
Maybe not. Just
Time is running
I might
out.
be thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, they might have sown the seeds for it later, which is fun.
We need to get moving. Look around for anything that stands out.
Anything broken, yeah?
Broken or incomplete, though it may not seem so at first.
A couple of buildings that were incomplete, but I don't think it's that.
You look around for a moment. Victory points to something. I mean, it's not incomplete, but, it's tiny. She points to the fallen set of bricks. And you can see connected...
She points to Kevin's backstory, yeah.
Near a brick that looks suspiciously like Kevin.
The Kevin lore drop we've all been waiting for.
On its side is a palm-sized obelisk of white stone. Kind of like a pyramid with a triangular base, taller than it is wide. It doesn't look too out of place, apart from the fact that it's one of the few triangles here outside of the pyramid.
What did the top of the pyramid look like last time? The scary spirit thing, was that white?
Pretty much. No, it's adamantine, so mottled.
It was the same material. I couldn't remember if the top was different or not.
The white stone is common here, though, but this one seems particularly well made and very clean edges.
I mean, that's a good bit. Should we go and have a look?
Let's try.
Who wants to pick it up?
Not me, weirdly. Bit
I'll
wary.
touch it.
As you pick it up, you hear, Scamp, a low, pure note, like that of a low C on a piano, but stretched out indefinitely. And you can hear that sound leading you towards what looks almost like the side of one of these low houses. There is basically like a hole, like a trapdoor type hole that looks like a doorway to a house dug under the ground.
Huh. I think we need to go that way.
Right. Lead the way.
Okay.
Yep.
You step down, you follow these little steps down into the hole and open a door and hear the crashing of waves in your ears. The tang of salt is strong in the air. The sun is high above, approaching noon and passing quickly. You're still in a city, but clearly different in its nature. The sea sprays against black rocks and bright, clinging grasses, while floating piers tied by grass ropes connect driftwood and hide huts built on stilts over the water. Simple dugout boats and woven nets are anchored to the piers, or dredged up on beaches of black sand. There must be hundreds of these huts scattered throughout the smaller rocky outcroppings, leading up towards a central aisle on which you can see a tower stands, half-built, from blocks of black stone, reaching up towards the sky. And around you, humans are busying themselves in baggy shirts and trousers tied at the knees, mending nets and carrying loads, while Sawagin swim up to meet them and speak with them, wearing clothing and accoutrements closer to what you're used to. Crude jewellery of shark teeth, pearls, the occasional band of gold. Not the relative finery of the attack squad that you saw before. You can see that the humans and the Sawagin chatter to one another, trading captive squid, shellfish and pearls for sealed clay jars or beaten copper and stone tools. Others sit beside drawn-out squares of hide stretched on reed frames, and they seem to be charting the skies with charcoal fragments or thoughtfully flicking abacuses carved from coral beads.
What is this?
Cassandra frowns. Before my time.
Wow. Am I still able to understand the language the Sawagin are speaking?
Yes, they are indeed speaking a familiar tongue, a slightly weird dialect, probably a few hundred years out, but definitely recognisable. And they mostly the topics of the conversation are unexpectedly civilized for what you're expecting. Most of the Samagine tongue that you're aware of is concerned with hunting or raiding, or
I'm trying to remember the accent that the Sahuagin we heard speaking had.
Sort of like this, I think.
Yeah, that was it.
No,
The ones that were weirdly posh.
oh yes, that was it. It was, I am a baron.
Yeah.
yeah.
There we go.
You gave him a stupid name. It was really fun.
Alhan and Bari.
I was going to say it was Barry.
Han and Bahri.
Yeah.
The baron.
They were-
Yes. So yes, I suppose you can imagine them talking like this. And they,
yes.
and the topics of discussion, you kind of work out from context, are largely focused around trade or fishing currents or mathematics. You see 3 Sahuagin talking with a pair of humans, discussing, as far as you can tell, philosophy. Like, one of the Sahuagin is saying, but what if all the world, everything we observe, are like shadows filtering down through the sea and casting on the seafloor, and
the cave. Okay.
and we're actually seeing everything we see is just those shadows, and there are real things that we can't perceive because they're above the water.
That one reminds me of John Paul Savat.
You can feel the sort of tone leading you in the direction of a set of one of the sort of fisheries places where they're bringing up nets of fish. As you make your way through, however, there is a sudden sound that is immediately familiar to you all. It is but faster, as rapid as you heard during Alisalt, and it is the sudden of rifle fire. You glunt, your eyes like flick to one side, Corzin accepting, and you can see suddenly a cadre of Yonti stepping out from between the huts. These aren't dressed in the style that you've seen before, though. They are wearing black padded uniforms with padded clothing and helmets not unlike those that Cassandra is wearing. They are wielding rifles, not dissimilar to the grey uniform Dragonborn from before, but with strange boxier designs. As the humans and Sahuagin start screaming and running and swimming under their advance, you see 3 of these Yonti stand out. Partly because, and part of that is because the parts of their bodies appear to be strangely silvery, as if they were made from silver or steel, and partly because of what they're carrying. One is wielding a rifle with a peculiar glass barrel. Another appears to be carrying a beautiful curved blade, whose edge is glowing softly. And the third is apparently unarmed, but their eyes are silver and glowing with green light from their pupils.
Well, hate this. Time to go. Anyone else?
We need to find some things and get out of here.
Yeah, where are we going?
You can see that there is a fishery that is where the song is going towards, but you're either going to need to go around the edge of the coast of this sort of curving beach, past several buildings and streets that are now being filled with these rifle-wielding Yonti, or you're going to need to get across the water. There are a series through whatever means, which could potentially leave you very exposed, depending on how you cross it.
Okay.
I think we've got to get around them somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those weapons look like they're more
Bad
than a match
news.
for anything we can
You
throw at
watch as one of the some of the Sawagin grab tridents and try to advance on them. The one, and you watch as the one carrying the beautiful curved blade tilts her head, and there's a moment in which she seems to blur and stretch for an instant, and she stood suddenly behind, on the other side of the three Sawagin, all of whom fall into pieces, like they've been sliced, like their limbs have been sliced off.
Oh dear. A question: how far away is this group of Yunti?
I'm going to say that they're probably about 60 feet away,
Oh, banging.
with your target probably being close to 120 feet across the bay.
I mean, I might. Rainbow Spirit turns into a gas I breathe in. I'm going to chuck a confusion. Trying to make sure to get the big three in it.
Okay. And as you as the blast carries out, you catch the three of them. You also catch some of the other.
I'd like to get as many
rifle
other ones as
Yunti.
possible. Yeah.
Some of whom sort of seem confused and turn and fire at civilians, at each other, with these strange boxy rifles, which put out even more. Seem to put out bullets at similar rates to that strange sort of machined gun atop the land ships that you saw.
Okay.
And seemingly have a great many rounds in them. The three in the centre, however, as you catch them, I'm going to say actually, because I did say that the one with the sword had moved, so she's out of range, but you do catch the other. But it's
just
currently
behind some people who came at her, though, right? Well, obviously.
She, I'm going to say for context, she moved like 100 feet in an instant. But
I
you do catch the other two. So they are effectively out of the picture as you watch one of them, the one with the glass-barreled rifle, he hisses in rage, turns it on a nearby set of riflemen, and fires a beam of light out of the end, which vaporizes the Yunti in front of him.
Oh, fuck.
The third one, with the silver eyes, the glowing green light heightens, and they turn, and you see them stretch one arm out. Actually, I'm going to say, no. They turn and they grab their thumb on one hand with the others and seem to pull away the nail, and you see a glowing sort of whip extend out, and they slash it around this ludicrously impossibly thin glowing whip that as it goes through several Yunti and several civilians nearby, just they fall apart like they've been sliced in two.
Celestia freezes, so enjoy that.
Celestia having frozen, whoever wants to lead the skill check, though, to proceed onwards with this distraction, gets advantage from the confusion. So
Okay,
it's going
I
to be...
think...
I mean, can we
Yeah.
try sneaking? So because I don't know if they've specifically seen us yet. Can
Okay,
we
roll
stealthily
stealth.
Try and follow the thing.
Yeah,
One of you lead a stealth check, please.
okay.
And how stealthy is Corzin?
Reasonably. Like, +5?
Ah, +7. Haha.
Yeah, you lead it.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, they both end up being the same. That is a dirty 20.
Okay, you scramble through the buildings using cover, through between buildings. You leap into the water at one point where there's a gap, swim under,
You sort of like
carry on, dragging
guide
Celestia after you.
along, 'cause it's just clocks out for a sec.
As everything descends into chaos, the woman with the blade seeming to zip place to place, the one with the strange glowing rifle firing at everyone. There's one moment where you glance back and you see the one with the silvery eyes lets the glowing whip collapse back into their thumb, and instead extends a silvery arm at someone running away. And you watch as her hand just disassembles, breaks apart, and seems to transform into a barrel from which a small silvery rocket fires out and then explodes, taking out a building. Cassandra at this point, like, shit. As you
Stay down.
Surface again, you scramble into the fishery, and you can see on a board nearby is a ring of 12 white stone blocks joined by a circular stone base. They're arranged in like a little circle in the space, standing up. Like almost like dominoes that have been arranged in a weird circle.
Right.
In the centre of that base is a triangular slot. Who wants to grab it?
I will.
Okay, as you grab it, you hear a pure mid-range note, like that of a middle E played in a glass glockenspiel, stretched out into infinity, and you hear it coming from the water right next to the pier.
Are these like another form of timekeeping device?
We'll find out. Where's it going?
Over there, by the pier.
Okay. You leap into the water, and with a... you emerge, coughing and spluttering. The sky above is red and gold, the sun hurtling down towards the distant waves in the west. The water washes you up onto a shore of clean white sand. Simple huts of timber and reeds stand further up the beach, where it turns to grass and solid ground, and you can see humans tending to nets, dressed in kind of Meadmere-esque clothing, with hints akin to those you last saw at Werrick's Watch, if they were from a style about 1,000 years in prior. Cherry trees are in blossom, and as the wind blows, soft pink petals float through the air. High hills rise up, not far in the distance, showing the signs of terracing, and numerous small lights and thin plumes of smoke are visible among them in the dwindling daylight. Somewhere amid the village, you can hear the sounds of communal festivity, and you see a plume of smoke rising from up ahead, and it is in that direction that the note is leading you.
Alright, I think we've got to, given where we just came from, let's pick our way carefully through here, but...
Onward.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yonder. And Corzin will point in the direction.
It doesn't take you long for you to reach the centre of the village. You can see that people are gathered round, cheerfully drinking or talking or eating, mostly fish. And in the centre of the village there's a squat pillar of stone with a simple stone guard around it, and a fire that you have a feeling from the way people bring it is always kept lit. There are carvings drawn in, made into the stone, depicting lizards, birds, flames, and something that might be a dragon if you've never seen a real dragon, and you worked the idea of one straight from your imagination.
This is like all those old depictions of animals before people actually knew what some animals looked like.
Or like depictions of surface animals drawn by people who've only been underground. They get really
I can only imagine. Yeah, what must they think like dogs or cats look like?
I had some pretty weird ideas before I went upstairs.
As the cheerful... You get the sense that, again, you can hear, coming from somewhere in this crowd, or somewhere in this sort of thickly pressed celebration, there is what you are looking for. Near the centre, but the people are currently quite pressed in to get there. Corzin, I'll say you noticed this, though. They don't make as big a splash as previously, but you notice someone else here who does not belong. Muscling their way through the crowd, peering around, you see a dwarf with a waxed beard in a steel ring, wearing a sleeveless leather trench coat. They have a mohawk, the head shaved at the sides, and you can see that reaching up onto the sides of his head and all down his arms are glowing tattoos and small, complex, silvery elements.
I want a sleeveless leather trench coat.
Is that? Alright, I'm going to approach cautiously.
Why?
Does this individual look like they are also trying to hide?
This will be the other people that are trying to harm us.
Roll an insight check.
Okay. That is 9 total.
It's hard to work out what their exact intent is, because they're not immediately attacking anyone, but you do notice they gesture with their hands, and one of the tattoos flashes for a moment and then grows dark. And you see them turn and focus and start moving in the direction of your group. Interestingly, you do not see any spirits or anything. But there is definitely magic happening.
Oh, that's weird.
Right. Where are we going? Let's go.
Yeah, which way? Let's go follow the things.
You can see, you can feel that it's in the centre of this crowd, but the crowd is very thick. And in fact, is the main obstacle between the dwarf reaching you immediately, and also the main obstacle with you getting to the centre of the crowd.
I have an idea.
Go on.
I'm going to use prestidigitation to make us smell real bad. Like dung. Like really bad, mouldy, sad dung. And fish.
I would like an intimidation check, from you, please.
Okay. If you want to get through a crowd quickly,
it's effective. It's subtler than throwing them all aside with wind. But this will work too.
What was it? Intimidation.
Yeah.
32.
Wow.
That is
As
intimidating.
the rancid whiff extends in the air in front of you,
Blood of eternal stench.
the crowd very quickly starts to get out of the way, and you can see as the dwarf is actually starts to struggle a little. You can see him hurriedly casting a few more spells. Some sort of shadowy blade kind of starts to extend out of his hand, but he's now just struggling with trying to get anywhere through. His eyes begin to twist and rotate in curious ways. You realise he has silvery irises like the woman with the whip from before. But
I'm going to get this description off you. I need to draw him.
You just hurl straight through, and you find beneath the stone pillar is a white stone sphere, truncated at one end by a circular slot with a flat base. Celestia, as you pick it up, you can hear a pure high-range note, like that of a high G played on a violin with an endless bowstring. And you can hear that note coming from the fire.
Are we going in the fire, folks?
If we are, let me go first. I'm going to try sticking them all in the fire then.
Yeah, probably best actually.
Yep.
As you step forward,
Actually, I'm resistant as well.
Yep, and reach an arm into the fire.
Pinky waistcoat.
You see,
Yeah, but you've got trauma, so
the world flashes for a moment with heat and light, and you find yourself out of the fire and into
frying pan. No way.
the dark. You look up to see, as your vision adjusts, a roof of low natural stone. Your first instinct for a moment is that you're back in the Underdark, but then your eyes catch colour in the stone.
That is a point. Do my eyes catch colour yet?
And indeed, I would say that sorry, I forgot to actually mention this.
I completely forgot as well.
Your eyes regained colour as soon as you went, as you came into the ancient city. So
Okay.
as soon as the space adventure finished.
Oh, you saw space, not in colour. That's so sad.
I actually meant to brag. I forgot to say that actually your colour sense should have come back as soon as you saw Calcinea from above. So I'll say
I was
that you saw
busy
that.
jumping.
Yeah. But you can see that you do catch colour in the stone. You realise that the light is low, it is not absent. You turn around to find you are not in a deep cave, but a shallow one. More like a space between two rock shelves on the edge of a mountain. You can see beneath a starlit sky the distant peaks of other mountains in a range, rolling woods and plains down below, and treacherous trails leading up to this shelf. Ominous winged creatures make dark shapes flitting across the stars, looking for meals on the plains below. Yet this shelter is clearly inhabited. Simple blocks of cut and smoothed stone have been piled up and mortared along the shelf's edge, creating barriers against the wind and cold, and also doorways and windows, no doubt too small for those giant winged beasts to make use of. People are sheltering around fireplaces, ringed by more cut stone blocks. Dark-skinned, bearded halflings, dressed in well-sewn cloaks and cotton tunics of a style unfamiliar to you, but which seems vaguely West Haldanic. With the settlement wall, there seems to be less need for individual housing, but you do see simple low walls or even posts of cut and decorated stone, demarcating different family groups. Listening to the sort of tones, you can hear that towards the back of the shelf there's a dark, natural passage that leads deeper down, further away from the settlement. And that is where you must go.
So,
Where are we headed?
You are currently in a sort of shallow natural cave that has worked stone in it and is clearly part of some sort of settlement of bearded halflings.
I've got to go further down.
Yeah.
Celestia gets real weird.
Sorry.
We've had a whip
That's
flames
where we
and a
gotta
tunnel
go.
in like 5 minutes. Oh, do we have to?
Yeah, it's not a real tunnel. I don't know if that makes
It doesn't
it.
make any fucking difference.
No, it doesn't really, does it? Because, it wasn't a real dragon, but it totally was,
Yeah, I said we've just got to get on with it, to be honest.
Yep, let's just do the thing.
Not fond of caves?
No.
Ooh. Sorry. Alright, let's move on then. You begin making your way down the natural passage. It is not worked. This is a kind of slippery limestone passage. It gets narrow at points, it gets difficult to maneuver, and even moving down it slowly at first, it is quite tricky to find your footing. And it gets a trickiness that is not aided by the sudden flash of red light from above. You peer up to the top, to the entrance, and you can now see floating up to the entryway is what appears to be a metal orb of some sort of dark metal, surrounded by floating metallic shells and steely elements that seem to unfold and reconfigure themselves as it moves. The orb has an ominous red strip of glass that encircles it, along its sort of equator, for want of a better word, and there are multiple glowing red lights roving around it, focusing. And you notice that they start focusing on. One of them seems to notice you, and the others move round like mobile eyes.
Where the hell's that from?
Regardless of whether that you choose to fight or flee or whatever else, I'm going to ask you to quickly roll initiative, just to get so that people have an order in which they can take actions.
24.
12.
1. Celestia is not triggered.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
For the record, that word will never once be used in the superfluous dickhead on the internet way on this podcast.
Yep.
This is the legitimate medical meaning.
Okay, so Corzin, I'm going to say for the purposes of this that at this particular moment, the orb is kind of 30 feet above you, and the passageway is continuing down. It is tricky, it is slippery, a slippery limestone, and it's a pretty solid, path between you and it. How do you want to react to this situation?
Okay, so is it looking directly at me or at all of us collectively?
It has tilted down, and you can see that 3 of its glowy red points are... In fact, 5 of its glowy red points are focused in your direction, and you would say that one of them definitely feels like it's got it, like it's looking at you.
Okay,
You're not the only one with multiple eyes in this scenario.
Yeah, fair. Okay.
We've all got multiple.
Yeah.
Very high multiple.
Victory doesn't.
Victory.
Oh no,
is like-
victory doesn't anymore.
as you sort of.
I mean, it's a multiple of 1.
Yeah, as you start to
it's a
see
very
Victory's
small multiple.
glances up over, as if she can hear you thinking this. Glances over for a moment with her eye patch.
Oh, Victor.
Okay, Corzin is going to keep an eye on the thing, but he's going to say to Scamp, can you make it dark around that thing while we just rush?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it.
So you say that. What do you do, Corzin?
Okay, Corzin is going to... Celestia's still leading the way, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
I am not leading the way in this scary cave where I'm triggered. I'm in the middle because I
Yeah,
don't
you
want
are
to be
in the
left
middle being
behind
pushed,
either.
kind of encouraged by the people behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am rather unhelpful at this
Yeah.
second.
Right,
There's an
cool.
element of autopilot happening. There's dead behind
Sure,
the eyes.
yeah,
It's
okay.
it is going along with it, but isn't coming up with new ideas right now.
Okay. Well, we have a direction, so Corzin is going to start moving in that direction, but only will start moving when Scamp casts darkness
Okay.
over this thing.
You hold, and then we'll make your movement as that goes. All right. The next one up is the orb. The orb focuses its its 5 eyes on you, and the air becomes strangely charged. One of the peculiar metallic steely elements unfolds and reconfigures into what you are pretty sure is a gun.
Right.
With a series of sharp cracks, it fires shots at each of you, and everyone basically gets hit.
Okay.
You each, just rolling that, I'm going to average out because for the purposes of this, you each take 24 damage. This is piercing damage. percussive technically, as from the hail of shots that descends down. Scamp, you're up next.
Can I hellish
it
rebuke
also
it?
slowly
I never remember to do that these days because I
Oh!
never have
That's
a
a good idea.
Okay, yes. As it impacts and the orb begins to slowly float down in your direction, I'm going to say getting about within 10 feet of the person at the back, which I'm going to say is Victory. You move to hellish to hellish rebuke. You feel the magic.
Ow!
You kind of reach to that instinctive tiefling magic and find nothing there.
Ooh. Interesting. That's a problem.
Yep, the orb is now 10 feet from Victory. Who's the person at the back, I'm going to say. Scamp, what do you want to do?
I can't cast darkness then. That's a problem.
Neither can I, if we're not that instinctive things.
Yeah, if it's a tiefling thing, if like my tiefling magic doesn't work, that's a.
Oh, is it just like it isn't there?
You reach for it and you can't find it.
Is
Okay.
anything else there? Any other magics?
Do you try and cast something?
Well, I guess I do, because that ain't gonna work. Ooh, now I have to think. Look.
I'm going to move quickly through this.
Yeah, sorry, I now have no ideas, because I
Okay.
had an action. I guess I'm gonna try and cast polymorph on it.
Okay.
Oh,
You
good
reach
idea.
out your hands to summon your magic and nothing comes. The strange staticky feeling floods the passage in front of you.
Okay, yeah, I
and
got no
all
magic.
around
We
you.
should leave.
You have no magic. Okay.
So I'm going to
Scamp.
leave.
Okay,
because
Scamp
I
calls
can
in.
move at least.
You just start scrabbling down. Can I ask for both of you to give me...
How's
I-
Marjorie doing?
Marjorie doesn't disintegrate. She just,
Okay.
just clings to you. But, yeah, this is... you find yourself unable to cast any spells. Victory similarly tries to, it's right next to me. I'm just going to lightning bolt.
No.
Fuck! And yeah, I want acrobatics or athletics checks from both of you to try and scramble your way down.
Okay,
Which
athletics.
brings us to Celestia.
Are you doing everybody's checks first?
Yes, we'll do the checks first and then we'll...
Dirty 20.
14.
Okay, you begin scrambling, hurrying your way down as fast as you can manage. Celestia, what do you want to do?
How am I feeling? Being this connected to the Rainbow Spirit, does anything feel weird?
That's an excellent point. As you look to the Rainbow Spirit, the Rainbow Spirit is like looking strange and like faded, and you feel like there's almost like like a wall of static electricity between you and part of yourself. Like something is holding you apart.
That would hurt.
Yeah.
I think this is Northern Lights.
Yeah.
Kind of like that's how.
Yeah,
I
you're
picture
getting
this.
some real. Yeah.
Physical panic, and so something is really, really wrong here, and we have to go right now. Run, dash.
Yep. Give me acrobatics or athletics, please.
Acrobatics, please. Oh God, kill me. Acrobatics is 14.
Okay. As you all begin to scramble downwards, it doesn't take long before Victory actually loses her footing and tumbles, catching Cassandra, catching Scamp and Corzin. You begin to slip and slide down the wet limestone. But it's not a moment too soon as more bullets thunder into the ground behind you. The twist of the passage actually becomes a little shallower and brings you out of the immediate sight of the orb. And all of you feel magic suddenly return to you. You pick yourselves up, you scramble, heading forwards. With that 20, Corzin, you are able to stabilize everyone from collapsing into like an absolute heap. And scramble and hurry forwards. Victory glances back, flicks her hand, and a bolt of lightning strikes a bit of the rock, collapsing it, blocking up some of the passageway behind you as you hurtle forwards in the direction that the humming sound is bringing you. And you find, at the end of this natural passageway, a cave. A quiet cave of astonishing beauty. The inside of a massive natural geode filled with enormous white crystals that crisscross the cave, floor to ceiling. At the far end of this chamber, you can see where a figure has been carved in stone and placed here. That of a bearded halfling, arms open in welcome. Countless bright jewels and polished precious stones have been placed all around him. And the reason you can see this is that in the centre, illuminating would otherwise be a dark cave, is a blazing white orb, surrounded by a softly glowing white ring, and around that the ghostly image of a triangle. And you can tell that this is where the three parts of the song are leading. To recap, you have a small kind of like three-sided pyramid, three-sided base type pyramid, of white stone. You have a disc of white stone with a triangular slot and what looks like 12 sort of dominoes of white stone around them. You have a white stone sphere that is truncated at one end by a circular slot with a flat base.
Does it look like they would fit in a particular order?
Sure. It's late. I'm going to say that, yeah.
I can't picture that in my head.
That's okay.
Yeah,
my
I can
ability
picture
to
them
visualize
separately.
is
I
died.
can't.
It's okay.
Yeah, I can't.
You
do
can
it
clearly
in
see
pictures.
how some of these slot together. The triangular, the little pyramid slots into the middle of the little circle of dominoes. The little circle slots onto the top of the truncated sphere. So now you've got what seems to be a white orb, flat on one side, with a little ring of domino-like stones, and in the centre of it, a raised, like a little pyramid, almost like a knife or a blade, in like a triangular blade that sticks up.
Yep.
And in the centre of the cave, you can see there is the blazing white orb and a white glowing ring around it. You can see that the orb is the only source of light here. It's casting shadows across from everything the light touches.
I mean, obviously we need to take it over there.
Yeah, let's
you're
put
there.
the thing
I'm
on-
just
Let's put
rather
the thing on
there
the
is-
thing and see what happens.
On what part do you want to place the thing on the things? This is the. I apologise. This is
I'm sorry, my brain is tired, and I still.
Okay.
I don't think
I
there
can
are
see
any
both
words
things.
you could use that would mean I could see the things
There
in my
is
head.
there
at
is
the moment.
no way of knowing what part this goes on.
fair enough.
Unless, Sam, you're feeling like,
I think I'd need
Okay.
someone to draw it for me even to picture it at this point.
I can picture both things, I just don't see how how there's a specific way they go together unless there's a slot or something.
Okay.
Yeah, if the sphere in the middle is just like a perfect unbroken sphere, like it doesn't have any like texture or indentations or anything.
It's just a glowing white orb. Well, so it's actually, if you look carefully, you can almost see like tiny flames on the white orb, or like little arcs that go up and down around
sounds
it.
really
It's like a
pretty.
burning ball of fire
Is it
of white
solid?
fire.
That's a good question.
No, you feel like you could probably put your hand through it.
just
It
put
does
it
look
in?
like fire. Okay, trying to put the orb, the white, like the stone orb, into the into the blazing like
We
tiny
have an
sphere.
orb and a pyramid, isn't it all together?
Yeah. You've got the orb and pyramid and all of that set up. You try and put it in. It doesn't really do anything. It just
Put it on
passes
top.
through it. Placing it directly on the orb doesn't do much. But
Put it under. I'm just.
These are all
You,
the
you want to know where we put it? I'm going to put it everywhere until it's the right place.
you. Okay, I'll say that when you hold it near the orb, near the blazing white sphere, you can feel like a small tug, like as if you were to let it go, it would just fall into it or fall in its direction.
I already put it in and you said it didn't go in. I don't understand.
Alright, it's very late. To cut a long story of an experimentation short, when you bring it near the white ring, you can feel it sort of wanting to move out of your hand. And when you release it, you can see that the... Actually, I will say that as you hold it up to the orb... Alright, let's do this from an angle. When you hold up the little stone orb and look at it, you can see that the way that the light from this shining sphere is casting deep shadows across the orb. In particular, you can see how it's casting one long shadow from that knife-like pyramid in the centre of the 12 little domino-like things, so that the shadow touches one of the dominoes.
Right, okay, I think I got
Oh, it's a sundial.
it. This is a bit like, it's another form of keeping time, so it must be like a sundial where the shadow is cast from the triangular bit. It's supposed to delineate the different, like, increments of time. So if that's an hour, like, if there's 12 of them...
As you rotate the orb round to like demonstrate what you mean, you feel the orb start to spin on its own.
I'm not doing that.
And
Confused why you're calling it an orb when it's not an orb. Like,
sorry,
the thing in the middle
is the orb.
is an orb. We have a thing with a pyramid on it. You're calling them both orbs.
I'm sorry.
And I really can't follow it. So could you please call them something different from each other?
Right, the sundial.
Thank you.
I was trying to avoid using the word sundial.
Yeah, but you can't use orb for both things when one of them is not an orb shape.
Yes,
I'm going to
okay.
go insane.
This is one of those cases where theatre of the mind fails when we're all tired, and I've not necessarily described this in the best way.
You've described it great. It's just,
Yeah.
Just my brain is not processing
Yeah.
words very well anymore.
Okay. The as you hold the as you turn the what you can now see is essentially a sundial, or maybe a circle of stones on a tiny little world in place. It begins to spin on its own, lifting up towards the tiny glowing sun. You see this sphere with the sundial begin to spin on an axis, and then rotate around the central sunlight glowing orb. As it does so, you see the shadows move on the sundial, and the orb move around like a planet spinning through the stars, days passing as it turns, and then speeding up faster and faster, the song building, the tiny sundial flickering as the days go past, and coming into being. And you see Cassandra steps forward from behind you, and from the side of the cavern, and from the other side of the cavern, as 3 versions first move towards the central point, and you see 2 more ghostly triangles appear, tessellating with with the one that you've just fixed, to kind of make almost like a single larger triangle with a gap in the middle. And all 3 objects are now visible: a clock with hands rotating, the hourglass spinning in place so that the sand can flow outwards, the orb, fucking sundial orb, rotating around the sphere of light.
How is this an orb?
I had a limited number of words. And and as these come together, the world seems to collapse in on itself, fragmenting and overlapping. The different scenes and places you've seen, Alisont, the strange park in space, the mud brick city, merging, condensing, and then becoming an open white void, save for the triple triangle doorway. And it does seem to be a solid door now. And one Cassandra. She opens a pair of eyes, eyes that glow with light. I am together.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
For a short moment, I can see. And I can show you the way on. And I will have enough time to answer one question. And that question will be answered next time. Because it's very late and we're very tired. Thank you all very much for playing. Thank you all very much for listening. And farewell from all of us here at Flintlocks and Fireballs. Fair seas and natural 20s. We sail through seas of what might be, the tree of possibilities. Though prophecies break on our bow, remember this, what's real is now.
So gather your muskets, gather your spears, we'll plunder the shores of Calcinea. No kraken, storm or spell we fear, so come and sail with us, my dear.